claim that everyone before Rashi. So I agree with you. I agree with you that before Rashi, the mainstream interpretation was Messiah. I'm going to show
Right.
you how
They had to
Zechariah-
explain it away because they didn't want Jesus to be the Messiah.
No, hold on. So I'm going to show. That's not true. We accept all opinions in Judaism from the.
No, you don't. You don't. You think
yes,
Jesus
I do.
is in
So
hell.
if you're not going to let me speak, then I can't give you what I'm trying to say.
Well, what you're saying
which
is simply
that
wrong.
Even if you hold Zechariah 12:10 to be the Messiah ben Joseph, even if you hold that, it still isn't possible to be Jesus. Because if you go to Zechariah 12:2 and the beginning chapters, the walls of Jerusalem are surrounded by the foreign armies. This is paralleled in Ezekiel 37. They break through. There's a huge war that falls out between the nations and Israel. God comes down, saves Israel, destroys the Gentile armies, and Israel is left there victorious, but with Messiah ben Joseph dead. Now, the context of that is the war of Gog and Magog in Ezekiel 37 and in Zechariah, which does not fit at all with Jesus, as he didn't fight in any war. He didn't go out to battle and he didn't do anything. So if you look at the context of the passage, and what it actually says, which is, they will look to me concerning the one who was pierced, concerning the one. Just like Exodus 17 with the Matzot, where et is not an object marker, but rather a description.
No, it doesn't say concerning him who was pierced.
Not true. So it does say it, and I'll show you how.
No, I can go to a lexicon. It says him who was pierced.
So first of all, Dakaru is pierced. So they will look concerning the one who was pierced, which means Messiah ben Joseph. So they look to God, and all the nations mourn frantically about Messiah ben Joseph. The nations did not mourn at all for Jesus, not at all. The Jews never accepted him. His death didn't mean anything in Judaism, and not only that, he didn't fight. So
that's concerning his second coming. You silly goose! I already said that.
He didn't fight in any war, though. He didn't do any of those things.
That's concerning his second coming again.
Again, you can keep claiming second coming.
Yeah.
But you affirm that Zechariah 12:10 was his piercing on the cross, which doesn't fit with the context. So it's either that it is that piercing on the cross, or it's not, and it's a future event. You have to reconcile that. So which one is it?
Yeah, so the nature of Jewish prophecy is there's often multiple fulfillments.
So
the timeline is not set in stone for messianic prophecy.
No, it is. If the Messiah ben Joseph dies when the war is completed and God saves the people from the surrounding Gentile nations that break through Jerusalem, and then that's when the Messiah dies in the battle, then that's not your Messiah.
No, that's here, let's just read it. You're talking about Daniel 9.
Zechariah 12:1 and read it, and we'll go to 12:10. And then pull up Ezekiel 37. Where
here's the thing, man. Because when it comes to messianic prophecy, it's oftentimes very vague, and I think that it was intentionally left vague so that the devil didn't know the plans before they happened. Basically, God was kind of going. Let me finish. God was kind of going undercover to be able to redeem all of humanity. But that being said, since it's vague. I just want to point out something, that the Jews in the first century believed that Jesus was the Messiah, and then they established through the... Please pause. Yes, the Jews in the first... All the first Christians were Jews.
Yeah, okay. But
yeah.
What percentage...
So the Jews in the first century...
In the first century, what percentage of Jews were Christian in the first century?
I can't give you a percentage. I'm saying the first Christians were all Jews.
Such a minority.
Yeah, thousands upon thousands of them that became Christian.
First of all, great, thousands, and there's millions of Jews.
I understand
so let's say we have 1,000 Messianic Jews, and we have...
The numbers are irrelevant, and...
No, it is relevant.
No, it's really not, brother. It's really not relevant at all. Because what happened as a result of these Jews converting to Christianity is Jesus became the light to all nations, and he opened up salvation for...
Isaiah 42:6, Israel's
please
the light to all
pause.
nations, not
Please,
Jesus.
please,
So that's you
please,
twisting scripture to fit it
please
Jesus
pause. Please
So,
pause.
if-
Please
if-
pause,
so,
dude.
Zechariah 12:2.
All right, I'm
and read
gonna
to me
mute
the
you.
verse.
I don't like muting people, but I'm getting sick of... I haven't even made my point yet. So what I'm saying to
Why
you,
are
brother,
afraid to read scripture?
I'm going to drop you if you keep on interrupting me, because I haven't even made my point yet. Okay, and you're making me sick. So The Jews in the
Let's hear it.
first century, if you look at how they interpreted Hebrew in Hebrews 1, the Psalm 102, if you look at how they interpreted Jeremiah 31 in Hebrews 8, if you look at how they interpreted Zechariah 12 through 13 in Matthew 26, if you look at how they interpreted Zechariah 9 in Matthew 21, if you look at how they interpreted Micah or
Matthew's
uh,
not on the 10
Isaiah 42 and Matthew 12 and
It's not
Luke
how they
2 and
interpret.
Revelations 2, if you look at how they interpreted Isaiah 9 in Matthew chapter 4. If you
That's
look at
not how
how
they interpret.
I'm not done. If you look at how they interpreted
They didn't interpret it
please
like that.
pause.
You're just saying stuff.
Have you read the New Testament?
So don't make false claims.
Have you read the New Testament?
Yes, it's full of
Okay,
contradictions.
so you
and
can see in the New Testament
yes, it's full of
exactly
contradictions.
what so you can see in the New Testament how Matthew especially is uh, showing that Jesus is the Messiah by interpreting these Old Testament prophecies.
Yeah. So if I show
And he
you
attributes them
if I show you
to
what
Jesus
Matthew
Christ.
So
Of
the main
Jesus
story of the
Christ,
Torah,
who were all Jews. There's a few spots in the New Testament, the book of Acts, and in the latter part of the Gospels, where Jesus opens their minds to the scriptures, and he shows them how the scriptures refer to him. You can see Jesus all over the Old Testament. Now you can take different interpretative stance like the Jews, the Orthodox Jews do in the Talmud, but the Jews have some bias, just like Christians have some bias. The Christians authentically believed. You look at the minimal facts argument. The Christians and the disciples who were Jews of disciples of Jesus authentically believed that Jesus was the Messiah. You don't have to take that stance. It's up to you to choose. But those Jews, but those Jews, just like, but those Jews, just like Matt, I know. But I'm trying. It's like I said, a majority is completely irrelevant. Majority is complete. It is true.
Because if we look at context of the scriptures, and we look at what the scriptures actually
Yeah, I know
says
you've already made that. You've already tried to make that point 3 times.
A false Messiah because he didn't
That's
fulfill the
you can you.
prophecies needed to be him.
So
So
my
unless you're
main
afraid to pull up
yeah,
Zechariah
you
12:2,
keep on bringing that up as if I haven't already
because that's
addressed it.
context.
But I'm
Not
trying
every
to.
Christian has
Yes,
context. Don't pull up the context.
I understand that you don't want Jesus to be the Messiah, but my
Pull up the
main
context.
point to show that Jesus is
I'm
the
telling you, pull up the context.
please, dude. My main
Do you
point.
understand how this is kind of embarrassing? that you
Please,
can't pull up the
please, please
context of
stop.
the words?
Please just stop, because I
It
haven't
shows
made
what
my
Christianity is.
because I haven't made my argument for Jesus being the
No,
Messiah
you
yet.
have made your argument. So
No,
now
I
you said
haven't.
that 12 of the disciples accepted him as the Messiah. That's great.
My dude.
But
No, not 12. There's thousands and thousands of Jews and members of the Sanhedrin, even
that's not
like
true.
Nicodemus, yes, and Joseph of Arimathea. There's
So
all
if I show
kinds
you
of Jews, even in the Sanhedrin. Paul, who was a member of the Sanhedrin. There's very, very well studied Jews who believed that these verses are talking about, even though there's oftentimes multiple contexts going on, they believed that they were talking about Jesus Christ specifically, even though they may have been talking in another context back when they were written as well. But they saw those verses and Jesus opened their mind to the scriptures. And he can do that for you too, just like he did for these disciples. But you have to soften your heart and you have to realize, but you have, but you have to soften your heart and you have to realize that Jesus Christ really is the Messiah. Now, my argument for Jesus being the Messiah is not primarily based on Old Testament prophecies, which are often very vague. My main points to be able to show that Jesus is the Messiah is his life, his death, and his resurrection from the grave, and what transpired after that resurrection.
Because that's your claim. So do you believe that Jesus' life, that his walk of life, and the statements he made, do you believe that God's word is eternal and that the Torah itself is eternal, as it's stated in Isaiah and in Zechariah and Zephaniah? Do you believe the Torah itself is eternal and is the document that is given when Messiah comes? Is it yes or no?
The Torah was written by people, but God wrote a portion of it, like the Ten Commandments, in stone. So I think those Ten Commandments are.
Do you believe, though, that the covenant of the Torah is forever according to what the prophet states? It's a very simple yes or no.
If you're talking about the covenant that was made with the nation of Israel, or are you talking about the covenant that was made with Abraham specifically?
No, with Israel, the Torah.
Okay, so the law of Israel is not eternal. We had a second. That's why there was a need for a new covenant. according to
Or if I
Jeremiah
show you where
31.
it's eternal in the prophets, and where Isaiah explicitly states that the day natural law ceases to exist is when the covenant of Israel will cease to exist. So if I show you where the verses throughout the prophets declare that not only is the Torah eternal, but it's actually what's given when the Messiah comes.
This isn't my
The Torah
argument
is
for
given
Jesus being the
as a
Messiah.
teaching to all the nations. So what I'm trying
It's
to show
nothing to
you
do
something
with
is
it.
very simple: is that if you even take the claim Jesus' walk of life was correct, you have an issue, because not only does the
No, that
context
wasn't
not
my
align
claim.
with his
Jesus
messianic
rose from the grave.
claims, but he directly removed from the Torah, which is the punishment by God of death. So if you go to where Jesus says, "What goes in you does not defile you," he is directly removing a law from the Torah, which is forbidden according to Deuteronomy 4:2.
Yeah,
And
I
in
know
fact,
that you think Jesus was a sorcerer and he led the nation of Israel astray. I get that you have got that interpretation. But brother, what I'm trying to tell you is that Jesus Christ literally rose from the grave, and that is a testament to him being the truth. Not only his sinless life according to Jewish, not only his sinless life according to Jews, members of the Sanhedrin, who believed that he lived a sinless life. That's your opinion, but that was not the opinion of high members of the Sanhedrin in the first century, who were well-studied Jews and knew law by heart oftentimes.
Do you appeal to the Torah? Yes or no?
Why do I need to appeal to the Torah? I'm talking about the resurrection of Christ.
Because you as a Christian
The resurrection of
Torah and the
Christ.
prophets. And if you do, you have to accept God's word, which is that if you remove a law from Torah,
Oh my days.
declare a law to not be established as a statute, you are deserving of death, according to Deuteronomy 4:2. So when Jesus comes and makes claim of removing laws from the Torah, that already, no matter what ability he does, or rather even for messianic prophecies, that takes away his qualification to be the Messiah. So not only do
I know that you don't want Jesus to be the Messiah, but here's the thing. Not only is he the Messiah, but he's also God who wrote the law.
That's why you can't pull up Zechariah 12:2.
But he's also,
because you know the context doesn't point to it. So pull it up if you're
so
sure.
this is I've already addressed that 3 times, but I'll address it again so you can hear me, because I don't think you're listening. Because I don't think you're listening. Because I don't think you're listening. Because I don't think you're listening.
Pull up the context.
I'm going to drop you if you keep acting. You're acting like a child. You're acting like a little toddler. Stop acting like a little toddler. I understand that you don't.
Like someone who's ignorant and can't pull up context.
I'm going to drop you if you keep acting. You're acting like a child. Stop it. We got to talk like adults, or I'm not talking to you. How old are you?
18.
Okay, stop acting like a child. You're an adult now. You're 18.
You're the only one that acts like a child.
I need you to take it from. I'm trying to have an adult conversation with you, and you continuously are acting like a teenager who's throwing a fit. So I'm trying to tell. I've already addressed it 3 times. My main points in showing that Jesus is the Messiah is not messianic prophecy. Although I can use that, and I already talked about the various prophecies that the Jews in the first century, including members of the Sanhedrin, believed were about Jesus Christ.
That's not true.
I know.
Do you know what the Mishnah? You're making false claims. What is the Mishnah and the Talmud? Just answer
You
a
don't.
simple question.
Okay, what?
The Mishnah explicitly
Hold on.
states that
What?
Jesus was not only not the Messiah,
Hold
as
on.
described in the Talmud, but that he was a heretic to Judaism, and that was the main.
Is it a false? All right, we're gonna. You know what? I'm getting so sick of this. It's not a false claim, because you can read about how Nicodemus, how Joseph of Arimathea, how Paul, who was named Saul prior to his new name, prominent members of the Sanhedrin, believed that these prophecies were about Jesus. But if you really want to go into the Old Testament, I can bring Courtney up. Courtney, if you want to come up, you know. My main.
He was such a heretic and such an insult to Judaism.
My
he
main.
was cast out by his teacher.
My main aspects to show.
Master said he was a heretic.
My main points to be able to show that I know that. Can you, dude? I'm going to. You're making me sick with how much you're interrupting. You're making me sick. You've got to take it down. 3 chosen. Stop. So you're doing it again. You're right here. 1, 2, 3 notches. Talk like an adult.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, we've got a woman up here that's going to talk about the Old Testament with you, but don't freaking interrupt her. I'm going to drop you so quick, dude. Respect.
So you're gonna answer a simple question. Okay, great. So you're gonna answer a simple question. Why won't you pull up the context for Zechariah? Why won't you do that? Why are you afraid?
I would love to read it to you if you would shut up and listen to what I responded to with as far as context go. Because because there's oftentimes multiple fulfillments in the nature of messianic prophecy.
Great. So
It's
I'm
all it's
actually
always
raising
it's
up.
oftentimes very very vague allusions to
Great.
something
If
that's
the
later.
first thing
That's
about
why
Jesus
Jesus
is
had
that
to open their minds to the
yes,
scriptures, and you continuously are interrupting me,
if the
dude.
first thing of Jesus,
I can't do this anymore,
if
Courtney.
if
Courtney,
the
you can
first
go
thing of
ahead.
Jesus is that
Dude, shut up, shut up, shut up. I've heard your points five. You said the same thing 5 times,
you
dude.
haven't rebutted anything.
Dude, I've heard what you said 5 times. You need to chill out, okay? Chill. I'm done with you. Talk to Courtney.
Okay, run away. Let Courtney speak to me.
Hey, Ariel, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, your contention is what specifically with this passage? And are you really 18? Like, be for real.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know you told me you were still in yeshiva.
Yeshiva boys, 19. Yeah, right.
I know they can go out, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, don't lie about it, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you can see me on Toby Singer's show, so you know I'm of age. Okay?
On Tovia Singer. You think that, what does that mean? Tovia could bring up someone that's not 18. I don't know what that means.
I am, and if you go to his YouTube, you'll see.
Okay,
So
I mean, that's fine.
this is the simple contention. It's that even if you try to hold by some of the Talmudic opinions and the Talmudic views that say that Zechariah 12:10 is the Messiah ben Joseph, if you try to appeal to those texts, you also got to appeal to what the context of the text state when this person will be pierced and who's doing the piercing. Because in Zechariah 12:2 and parallel to 8, we see the battle and the war of Gog and Magog, and we see that the nations surround Jerusalem. They break through the walls. There's a significant battle of Israel versus the multiple Gentile nations that come and fight. And at the end of the battle, when many are slain, many of Israel are slain, the Messiah ben Joseph, who is not the Messiah ben David, he's the Messiah ben Joseph, when he'll die in war. And the Jews will look to God about his piercing.
He's in the line of David, dude.
And they will mourn for him. So here's the issue with that. If you want to appeal to it being Jesus, if you want to hold that claim because the Talmud says that it's Messiah ben Joseph, who's not the Davidic Messiah, because none of the context points to it being Jesus, and the Talmud directly rejects Jesus openly.
No, it doesn't.
So you can't appeal to a text that not only does not fit with the context of the verses, but has nothing to do with the Messiah, who was not pierced in battle, who did not die in war, and there was no miraculous battle where God saved the Jews from the Gentile nations. That did not take place. So you can't truly pick a host.
As I understand it, your contention is that you don't like that he, the host, appealed to the concept of Messiah ben Yosef.
No, so I don't like
chapter 12, verse 10 to substantiate that.
I don't like when Christians take a single verse and will not read the context preceding that verse. To me, it's pretty ignorant.
I got you.
Like the Sanhedrin.
No, I got you, but I'm asking. Yeah, I got you. But I'm asking specifically about, because you mentioned the Talmud. So my question is your beef with the fact that Christians appeal to Jewish concepts which are found in the Talmud, but don't agree with everything that the Talmud says?
Well, there's one problem is trying to use the Talmud to prove your God when the Talmud directly rejects it as heretical and terrible. So that's one problem. The other problem.
That's not really what I ask. I'll just ask it. Oriel, we've done this a couple of times. I just need you to answer my question.
So I answered your question.
Understand. So is your contention that Christians appeal to Jewish concepts without accepting the totality of the Talmud? Yes or no?
That's not the main issue I have. The main issue I have is that if you're going to uphold the view that parts of a very small part of the Talmud states about Zechariah 12:10 or Isaiah 53 being an individual figure before the coming of the Davidic king, the Davidic Messiah who will rule forever. If you hold to that opinion, which you can do, you have an issue. Because not only does the context not support you in the biblical Torah and the written Torah at all, and it doesn't add up with the date of his birth,
That's your opinion.
The events that preceded, the Talmud directly rejects that figure as being nothing. So you're still not. I answered you 3 times.
You did not. So it's
either you accept my answer or you don't. That's the answer.
Okay. Well, it's really okay. It's really
not
clear.
understand. That's the
I'll
lack of
just
context.
Oh
say,
my
I
days.
think there's a reason that you're not wanting to answer it, and I don't know why. I mean, you could just say yes or no, but so is
I'm
your
gonna calm down my answer.
is your
Dude,
is your contention that Christians appeal to Jewish concepts that were foreknown, specifically in regards to this passage, right? But they don't accept the totality of the Talmud.
So I'm going to say my answer. Part of the issue is like what you said of cherry picking verses, like even in the Talmud, without understanding the context of what the Talmud was talking about, or the context of the written Torah. That is the issue. So that is one issue.
So thank you. That's all I needed. That was a yes. Okay, so that's your contention. So can you? Okay, wonderful. That's fine. We can get to the second one later. But my question is, why is it a problem that Christians appeal to Jewish concepts, not the totality of the interpretation, but concepts that may be mentioned in the Talmud?
Yeah, the problem with that is that when Christians appeal to those concepts don't at all fit with Jesus, number one.
that wasn't the opinion of the Sanhedrin members.
The context doesn't fit with Jesus.
That wasn't
the context of the written scriptures doesn't fit with Jesus.
That wasn't
the
the opinion.
Talmud is discussing and the events that are taking place don't fit with Jesus. What you're doing is you're taking a single verse without any context, which is what Christians do, as we see that you won't even pull up Zechariah 12:2.
Okay, hold on.
I've got it right in front of me. I've read it. I've read it many times. I know the context, dude. Here's
trying to attribute it to a Jewish source that openly rejects your God. That's
what I want to get down to. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's completely and utterly moot that the Talmud would ultimately reject Yeshua as the Mashiach. It's moot, and I'll tell you why. Because Christians can appeal to Jewish concepts or ideas without accepting the totality of the document, right? There's nothing that says that they have to accept the whole document, okay?
Okay, so why would you accept part of the Talmud? So I'm asking,
no, it's not part of the Talmud. No, I said concepts. I said
concepts are only in the Talmud. So
no, okay, hold on. Back up.
Mashiach ben Yosef, Talmud.
Yes,
so
I'm aware. Yeah, there's Yosef, there's Aharon, there's Ephraim. There's many concepts. However, what I'm trying to focus on is, if you want to say, prior to the Talmud being written down, would you agree that these concepts were floating around?
The Talmud is those oral concepts.
Okay, so yes or no?
No, the Talmud is that.
Okay, so then it was somewhat oral before it was written down.
Okay, Courtney, that's like me saying that.
So the basis is the questions.
Hey, dude, chill out. Let her make her point. Chill out. 3 notches.
The basis is that a Christian, 100 years before the Talmud was written down, could accept the concept of Messiah ben Yosef without accepting the Talmud. Yes or no?
No.
Tell me why. Give me a minute.
Okay, I'll give you the answer, because Messiah ben Joseph is only found in the Talmud. That is the primary source of Messiah ben Joseph. And if you want to make the claim that Uriah is Jesus, preceding it of a major battle and God saving them and the Gentiles losing the war. I know you like to run from context. I'm going to ask you very simply.
I'm not going. Listen.
You think it is okay?
I'm here.
Okay, so I know, Courtney.
Oh my gosh, dude. You're a child. You need to chill out. 3 notches down. Talk like an adult.
I'm not running. Oreo.
I've got it right here. I've read it multiple times.
So if you're not running,
and I've addressed it.
I told you we have to deal with individual concepts. I know you don't do this a lot. Like I understand, and so I'm trying to be really patient with you. But what I'm saying is, like, we have to understand why it is that a Christian would appeal specifically to a Jewish concept without accepting the totality of the Jewish Talmud.
Right, because you can't accept a Jewish concept that is found in Zechariah without accepting the verse before that. Which means that you can't.
We haven't gotten to Zechariah yet.
I've already addressed that multiple times, dude.
We have not gotten there yet.
I've addressed that multiple times.
Oriel, please stop doing that.
That's why no one will debate you, because you're afraid of context.
Dude,
No one will
dude,
debate
you
me,
need to
that's fine.
chill.
That's
I'm getting so sick of you, dude.
you mean you're rabbit
Take it
today.
down.
He's scared, absolutely.
Yeah, he's so scared.
He is very
Of
scared.
you cherry picking verses and lying about
Then he should debate.
God forbid, he's so scared.
I've already addressed the nature of messianic prophecies.
Use anything meaningful.
Oh yeah,
Right.
no, like the threats. I'm a threat to his platform.
Yeah, you're such a threat coordinator.
I am a threat to his platform.
You're such a
I'll
threat
tell
that you
you.
try to keep Torah law, even though you're a heretic to
It's
Judaism.
okay. It's okay.
Don't
It's
follow
okay.
any of the
It's
laws.
okay. It's okay.
Do you know where the word heretic comes from?
Hey, Oriel, I get it. I get it. It's okay. Okay, back to the point.
Imagine hating
So,
Jesus.
The point.
Goodness gracious.
The point that I'm trying to get
It's
at
very
is,
simple. Read the verse.
give me a reason. Before we even get to the verse, we have to discuss why it is that Christians would appeal to Jewish concepts without accepting the totality of Jewish, either halakha or agadah, it doesn't matter. Okay? You have yet to be able to give us a reason why Christians cannot do that, especially when the Talmud, according to you, was oral before it was written. Ergo, Christians would have had the understanding of the idea of Messiah ben Yosef if, like you say, it was oral before it was written down 400-ish years after the time of Jesus.
Okay, so let me respond. So this is why it's an issue. You can't accept as a Christian part of the oral Torah and not all of it. It's either you believe that the oral Torah is true and is the transmitted Torah that comes from Moses, or you believe it's not true. You can't say, well, this part is true because I want it to be true because I think it fits my God who's a man, but I'm not going to accept the other parts. That's called unintelligent. You have to either accept the oral tradition as being true or deny it. You can't cherry pick a verse here.
Answer
I've
this.
answered your question so many times.
No, you haven't. All you've said, you've given us a claim. No, all you've done is given us a claim about specifically oral Torah.
Dude.
You gave us a claim about oral Torah, which I didn't even mention, although I know you're using it specifically to mean like the Talmud.
No, you did. You said oral tradition. That's the oral Torah. That's what it is.
No, it's not. But that's okay. I know that you don't.
That's fun. That's funny. If you don't think
Oh
that's
my
what it
gosh,
is.
dude.
That's funny. So please enlighten me, Courtney, with the real oral tradition that you have.
Can you please just back up? Okay. So specifically, I'm trying to get you to lock in on this. Give me a reason why Christians cannot accept a Jewish concept without accepting the totality of the Talmud. Why they can't. And if it is
because okay, I'm gonna respond to you one more time, and if you cannot understand what I'm saying, there's no problem. The reason why it's an issue for Christians to accept part of the oral system, which is of the concept of the Messiah ben Yosef, which comes from the oral system, and not the rest of it, is because it's a fallacy. You cannot accept part of a document or part of an oral system and not accept the rest of it. Because that's what Christians do. They accept part of the verse, but not the.
All right, she's trying to respond. She's trying to respond.
Listen, Oriel. I don't know if I know you don't understand how debates work. I can see that.
You don't
But
understand
I'm
what
asking
context
you
is.
to please listen to what I'm asking. Oriel, I need you to please give over the reasons for that. All you just did was give another claim. Okay, I need an argument for that, not a claim. You've made a claim, I rebutted, you made another claim. Please,
I'm going to say it one more time.
We heard you.
And an argument. Please Google that for me.
Courtney, your debating strategy is so bad. It's like, I'm
All right, bro.
It's
I'm
fine.
just. I think I gotta move on.
It's like really bad.
Okay, well then why are you struggling to answer this then?
I'm not. I've answered you 14 times.
Okay,
I'm going to do it
give us something that's not a claim that you've substantiated with an actual argument.
Great. Your question, Courtney, which I'm going to repeat for the 50th time, was why is it a problem for Christians who appeal to some of the oral tradition and not the totality of it? And I would give you the answer for the 50th time. And if you, again, run away from the answer, then we're done with the conversation, because then there's nothing fruitful coming out of this. So this is the answer. If a Christian accepts part of the oral system and then denies the rest of it and denies the context of the oral system and the scriptures, that is called being foolish and ignorant. That's called
a claim.
That's a claim.
You know this, but that's a claim.
That's not an argument.
You have now just made yet again another claim without substantiating how it is that it is fact. Please.
It's very simple. Do you or do you not agree?
Substantiate and build an argument.
Okay, do you or do you not agree that the oral Torah or the oral tradition is true or not? Very simple question. If you can't answer this, I know you're afraid.
Why is this difficult?
Do you or do you not believe that the oral system is true? Because you want the oral system, but you won't even say if it's true or not. That's you. That's you being Courtney, answer the question.
Bro,
please.
3 notches down.
I know that you're smart enough to understand this. Please.
Courtney, answer the question. It's a very simple
question. I don't think that you're asking me a question when I asked you to substantiate. Give us an argument. Please right now. Pause.
That was a claim, dude.
Hey, do you have access to a computer? Google.
Okay. Did you have access to what we call context? Do you have access to context? Because your argument isn't based off of any of it.
This is serious because I want you to progress the conversation.
What's serious is that you're an embarrassment to Judaism. Or a Messianic Jew who doesn't appeal to any context. He appeals to parts of the oral system, but not all of it. That is the only embarrassing thing.
You're resorting to insults, and it's sick.
As a young male in yeshiva knows more than you, who's so much older.
You're resorting to insults, dude. That means I'm muting you because you're resorting to insults, and we're not going to do that. I'm just going to drop you if you keep on insulting. We're trying to progress the conversation by having you present an argument instead of a silly claim.
Okay, so I'm going to present the argument. Courtney asked me a question. Why is it a problem for a Christian to appeal to a part of an oral tradition and not the totality of it?
That's not an argument. I presented.
That was your question. So I'm going to respond to it, and either you're going to accept the answer or you're going to keep crying that the answer is not good enough. So I'm going to answer it one more time. The reason why it's an issue is because if you take part of an oral tradition and pluck it out and say this one is true, but you reject the complete other parts of it, which means the totality and the rest of the oral tradition that not only explains the context, but how this is derived, everything else. That is a major problem.
That's another claim.
For a Christian to do that. And the reason why it's a problem, the reason why I'm answering why it's a problem, that was your question, is because what it is it's taking a verse, like many Christians do, out of context. It's substantiating something that is either true or not. You cannot say part of the oral system is true.
All right.
That's fine. Okay. So now what you've essentially stated, even though it wasn't really an argument, I'll just accept it for the sake of moving forward, that Christians cannot accept the oral concept of a Messiah ben Yosef and Messiah ben David, that they have to accept the totality of everything that comes along with it, right? Did I get that right?
Oral system. It's one oral system. It's not the verse is separate from the rest of the system. That's like me saying, well, we're going to study biology, but we're not going to use a microscope. Like, that's ridiculous. You obviously need the microscope to understand biology.
That's a really bad analogy because
no, it's really not. Because the context is the microscope to what you're looking at, which you don't have. So it's very simple. Taking something without context is like me reading one verse out of a book, one part of it, and saying, I know the whole book. I know
you haven't even gotten to the context yet. You won't even give an argument. You give like a partial.
I've given you the argument so many times.
Okay, can I please just speak?
And it's just embarrassing that you can't answer a simple question.
I guess that's a no.
I've answered it. What's very clear is that you, for some reason, have this weird bias to believe that specifically a Christian cannot derive some sort of
Courtney cutting out.
Sorry, I got a call. That Christians cannot derive a Jewish concept without accepting the totality of that which is written in the Talmud, which is a silly point, which is a claim. It's not an actual argument, because you didn't give over the reasons why specifically it would be a problem that doesn't favor your own argument.
This is why it's a problem,
That's
because
what
the concept of a Messiah ben Joseph does not fit with Jesus. That concept does not fit with him at all. Because
that is according to you.
No, that's according to not only Zechariah, but the oral tradition that claims there's a major battle where
you can accept a concept.
Keep rejecting Zechariah. You can keep rejecting the oral tradition, but all it shows is that you're ignorant and you cherry pick verses. That's all it shows.
We can go into Zechariah if you want to, but I just pointed out how all you've done is made a circular argument.
It's not a circular argument.
Show me how it's not, please.
Great, because Zechariah directly states that this Messiah ben Joseph, he dies in the Battle of Gog and Magog, where the surrounding Gentile nations break into.
Where does it say
I don't think.
Gog and Magog?
Gog and Magog is referring to the Gentile war. It doesn't say directly Gog and Magog.
Where does it say that?
It doesn't say
Where
that.
does it say that here?
Again, it says it in the oral tradition, which you claim to
Oh.
substantiate.
You told me that we needed to go to the chapter and read the context.
Yes, you'll see
Look
in
at that.
Zechariah that the Gentile nations surround Jerusalem, break through the walls, and attack Israel. And what happens is a major war.
Now you're appealing to an out. Here's what you're doing.
I'm appealing to Zechariah. That's what he
outside.
says.
Oh my
Pull up
gosh.
Zechariah 12:2.
I've got it pulled up. I could read the whole chapter.
Wait, read it right now. No.
My point is,
Read it right now. Read it right now out loud.
I am going to make Jerusalem
That
a
aligns
that
with
sends
Jesus.
all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be.
Read it.
Dude, chill.
I am. You're talking.
Slowly,
What is the matter with you?
Slowly. Read it.
Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. Is that slow enough?
Yeah, keep reading.
Okay.
Okay.
When is this speed okay? Because I don't know if I can be as slow as you need me to be.
Yeah, your sarcasm is as funny as your fake Messiah. So keep reading. Let's go.
That's hilarious coming from you.
You're gonna find out one
On
day, bro.
that day when all of the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. You want me to keep going?
Corey, are you gonna read the verse or are you gonna keep asking?
Did you hear? Did you not
Keep
hear?
reading.
I asked you, did you want me to keep reading or not?
Yes.
Jeez,
Read
calm
to
down.
Zechariah 12:13. Read it.
So you want me to go all the way down the whole chapter?
That's the verses. Okay, I know you like to pluck one verse.
I'm just
out of
wondering, like
context.
that's what you're wanting to go all the way down the entire.
Yes, I want you to read the chapter, which provides
then
the
I'm gonna read at my
context.
speed. And I'll try to move it. Will injure themselves on that day. I will strike every horse with panic and its riders with madness, declares the Lord. I will keep a watchful eye over Judah, and I will blind all the horses of the nations. And the clouds of Judah will say in their hearts, the people of Jerusalem are strong because the Lord Almighty is their God. On that day, I will make the clans of Judah like a fire pot and a wood pot, like a flaming torch among the sheaves. They will consume all the surrounding peoples right and left, but Jerusalem will remain intact in her place. The Lord will save the dwellings of Judah first, so that the honor of the house of David and Jerusalem's inhabitants may not be greater than that of Judah. On that day, the Lord will shield those who live in Jerusalem, so that the feeblest among them will be like David, and that house of David will be like God, like the angel of the Lord going before them. On that day, I will set out to destroy all the nations that attack Jerusalem, and I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, or you, depending on how you want to translate that, the one in whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son.
Great. So now that we read the passage, we clearly see, even without even looking at Ezekiel 37's description of the entire battle, which we can go to, we clearly see that what is prior to this event is a major war in the end of times where they break through the walls of Jerusalem, fight the Jews. The Jews end up, multiple of them end up dying in battle, and they become mourned for. Eventually, God comes in, defeats the Gentile armies. Israel comes in and seizes the lands, and they establish God's kingdom.
Yeah, it's right in your face.
Yeah, so you agree then, or do you
No.
not, that the context that is prior to the Messiah ben Joseph being pierced is a war in the end of times with the surrounding nations invading Israel, God destroying them, and them establishing the kingdom of Jerusalem? Is it yes or no?
Yeah, that's totally fine. That's end times, but it's right in your face, and you're missing the point. Would you like me to explain the point? Because you've been talking for a while. So would you like me to explain the point?
First, I'm going to respond to you now conceding to my point. So now that you've agreed that what is prior to the event of the Messiah ben Joseph's death is the battle of Gog and Magog, which is the battle of the Gentile nations going into Jerusalem. We described this already. I mean, you agreed to it, which is what Ezekiel 37 and 38 describes. You've conceded now that that is the prior event before this person dies, and they mourn for him, and then the kingdom is established, and God wipes out the nations. That did not happen under Jesus. Not only did it not happen, it didn't happen at all. There was no major battle. God did not come in and save them and destroy the Gentiles. None of that happened. So if none of those events took place, which is the context prior to that event, then to even attribute this at all to him makes no sense. It is ludicrous. It doesn't follow the context of the scripture in the prior verses, and it mistranslates the word et. Typically have to mean an object marker when it can mean over 7 different things in the Tanakh, depending on the context. So that's the issue with interpreting it like that. Now, please respond to my point.
All right. So, I don't know why it's difficult for you to understand, but the passage that it's referencing is not saying that Jesus will be pierced in that specific time. It says that they're going to mourn for the individual. So we'll just leave the individual's identity up for grabs, right? Let's just say we don't know who this is, right? Okay. They will look on me, the one in whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn. Could you give me a reason why specifically this cannot be Jesus, whom explicitly is stated in the New Testament to return at an explicit time, which absolutely looks like what you see happening here. You just mentioned that God, quote, God is going to come and save them. That's why I responded and said,
by doing what?
Right there in your face. And you
by doing what?
Show me why this individual, has to be pierced in that era. Go ahead.
Because it's following the context prior to it. It says they will look unto me in whom it's really concerning concerning the one whom they pierced.
Yeah, we just read it.
Which is really the Gentiles, because it makes sense contextually in the verses, because the Gentiles ended up massacring many Jews in the battle and the Messiah ben Joseph, which commentators agree with, etc. But the reason why it doesn't fit with Jesus at all is because the context of why they are mourning is after a destructive, terrible battle where multiple people die and Messiah ben Joseph dies. That's why they are mourning. It doesn't suddenly switch to, well, now they're mourning for a different reason. No, they're mourning for the battle where multiple people were wiped out. As we see in Ezekiel 38, that many Jews died in that battle, and then all the tribes mourned one by one. So you keep reading, by the way, in Zechariah 12:11 to 15, you see all the tribes mourn in the battle for him after the battle.
Yeah.
So the battle is what's prior to this event.
Okay.
You also mistranslate it to be fitting into whom they pierced. Concerning
it's et Asher Dekaru. What do you mean? What voice is that? Is that in, by the way, Dekaru?
Dakaru.
Yeah.
It's they. It's they pierced.
Yeah. So is it like a? Okay. So is it? What's the action? I don't. Obviously,
get it out for you. Let's go.
Oh, you want me to say it like academically? Okay, I'll say it academically. Yeah, is it in the call? Is it in the perfect? What is it? Third person? What? Tell me. Right now, what's the voice that it's in?
Yeah,
go ahead. Come on, are you struggling?
No, I'm not. I'm answering you.
Okay, go ahead. What's the voice that it's in?
Okay, great. So God in describing...
I said, what's the voice? It's one word that you should give me. Mister, you think you know everything, and I'm going to hit you with the linguistics, and you don't know your butt from a hole in the ground. What is it?
This is idolater.
Hurry. Give me the answer. Because I was stuttering to dumb it down for you.
Can I answer it for you, or do you want?
I was stuttering to dumb it down for you.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead,
Just
Google
like,
it. Google it. Hurry up.
Down the rest of the context.
Google it quickly. Google it.
I'm not googling anything. In
So
fact,
what voice is it in?
I have no computer. Nothing. Me talking to you.
Read it into Hebrew. Tell us. Et asher dekaru. Is that in? What voice is it in?
Yeah. So you're asking if it's passive or active. So you're describing.
Yeah, I specifically asked you. Yeah, which one is it?
If it's passive or active voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So answer.
It's passive.
No, it's not. It's
Yes,
in the
it
active.
is.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not. It's active.
No, it's not. Is God
I'm
doing
gonna
the
put it in the
piercing?
chat for you. What you should the academic.
Is God doing the piercing?
Right
Is
here.
God
Hold
doing
on.
the piercing?
I need you to pause. Everybody pause. Pause right now. Look it up. To any of you, pull the
This is
source.
so funny. Who's the subject?
Copa, pull the source.
Courtney, who's the subject of the verse?
Pull the
Courtney,
source.
who's the subject of the verse? Who's speaking?
Oh, the host or somebody's about to pull it. It's in the call tense.
Courtney,
Exactly. Wait.
Courtney.
Look at Izar's comment down there.
Courtney.
It's written in the active voice.
There you go. It's in the active voice.
Who's the subject of the verse?
You're
Courtney?
done. You're done, Simon.
Who's
You're
the
done.
subject?
You're done.
Who's the subject?
Subject is God.
You're done.
Who's the subject receiving the action? Is he receiving it or is he doing the action?
Verb. It's a verb. The quote voice is in the call. The active.
Wait, so who's the subject?
Hold on. I'm still speaking.
Who's the subject?
Can I, bro?
Dude,
please.
we already answered that anyways.
Who's the subject?
The action is quote perfect, and it's third person common. What is commonly referred to as common in the academic world? Common plural, sir.
Literally
So
says God
please-
will be pierced.
Great. So if you want to.
So am I right to everyone in the chat? Somebody put it on screen.
Courtney,
Can you put it on screen?
So Courtney, if you want to
Pause. No, I need you to pause. No, we're going to pause here for a minute.
No, I know. So if you want to hold that the voice here is active, the
Please.
subject is Israel. Unless
Please,
you're.
pause.
No, it's not. The subject is God.
Who the subject is?
We're just not going to talk to you. There it is. Hold on.
Courtney, who's the subject in the verse?
We already, dude, I answered you 2 times. Did you not hear me?
Depending on who the subject is whether it's passive or active. Who's the subject?
Subject is God, dude. I already told you.
No, we're showing everyone that you don't know what you're talking about.
Who is the subject of the verse?
No, we're going to pull it up.
Oh my God, Courtney, you can't even
Subject
answer
is
a simple
God, dude.
question.
No, I told you we're not talking to you until we get everything
Who
pulled
is
up.
the subject of the verse?
Can you not hear me?
Stop. Please stop.
Courtney, who's the subject?
All right, you're acting like a child.
Go
so
ahead and pull
just-
it up. I can't. Jacob.
Is passive voice the subject
Dude.
receiving the action or doing the action?
I don't know why I you're
Admit that you're
ignoring.
wrong, son. He won't admit it. That's why I need it pulled up. Can you zoom?
Is passive
Can you
voice
go
the
over it?
subject receiving the action or giving
No, like,
the
go-
action?
Okay, hold on.
Courtney, answer the simple
I'm
question.
talking to Copa, please.
I don't think you know what passive and active
Chosen,
voice
Yeah,
chill,
I'm the one
dude.
that brought it up, and I don't know.
You were the one that was wrong
No,
about it.
You're gonna have to go to. Give me a minute, and I'll pull it up on my screen. Hold on. Give me a minute. I'll pull it
Who is
up on my
active voice? Who's doing the
Oh
action?
my
active
gosh,
voice?
dude. Why do you have to? Is this how you always debate?
Who does the action?
Do you always debate like you're like a 12-year-old
Who does the
child?
action? It's so simple.
You're
Who does
like
the
a whiny.
action?
You're being
Is
a
it
whiny
God,
baby. Stop
Or
that.
is God receiving the action? Who is the subject
It
here?
literally says that God is going to be pierced in
Is the
this
subject
passage.
God?
Yes.
Okay, so if God is the subject
right
here.
now for you.
Great. So if God is the subject here, then He's receiving the action of being pierced, which is
Yeah.
passive voice.
No, hold on. Let me pull it up.
Passive voice. It takes a third grader to understand that. Like, I'm not even joking.
1856.
They will look at me whom they have pierced.
Oh, 1856. Got it. So look at that.
Receiving the action is the passive. If the subject is receiving the action, that's passive voice. Like, I don't know what you're saying. And if you
No,
even if you want to hold that the subject is Israel, which you can do, and it's Israel being the subject, then yes, that would be active because Israel is piercing God, but God is speaking about him being pierced. So God is speaking, he's the subject of the verse, which would making is that God is not speaking about him being pierced. Because et does not mean an object marker in this verse. Et has 7 different types of usages depending on the context. The context here points that et means concerning, just like in Shemot, where it says concerning the matzot, or concerning the battles. Et does not always mean an object marker, it can mean different things, depending on the context. Now, you won't look at the context because you're afraid, and you haven't even answered a simple question.
I've already
of how
addressed it.
Zechariah 2 is reconciled with this. Because you can't.
The
So
nature
it's
of
very simple.
messianic
Who
prophecy
is the
is not.
subject in the verse?
We've already, dude. Why do you keep asking
That's
the
not
same
true.
questions that we've answered 5 times? So, the
Okay,
nature
so
of
Jesus is the
messianic
Messiah,
prophecy. There's a
and he
reason
becomes
that
the second temple
Jesus.
period.
Please stop. There's a reason that Jesus had to open the disciples' minds to him in the scriptures, in the previous scriptures. He did this several times in the book of Acts. Jesus Christ is going to open your mind too if you soften your hardened heart to him. But you're really going off on Jesus. You really hate Jesus, just like the people who killed him. And it's really unfortunate because he's probably the best person who ever lived historically. He's made the most
So
positive change in
when
this
you
world. He's been a
directly
light to
blaspheme
all.
the Torah,
Been a light to all nations.
yeah, so his own
You know, I
master,
know that you understand that that's what we're.
you know his
I
own
know that
master
that's what you
expelled him.
think that we're doing, but that's not what we're doing. We're just providing extra
So do you
enlightenment
know,
to it.
his own master
So,
expelled him from
so
the,
it's
he was kicked
unfortunate
out
that
by
you.
his master.
Who are you talking about, Paul?
Like, no, I'm saying Rabbi Yoshua ben Prachia, who was his teacher, kicked him out.
Who are you talking about? Kicked who out?
Expelled him from the world.
Why are
Jesus?
you giving us your ridiculous claims?
You mean in his
It's
biography?
the Talmud that claims that, which you apparently appeal to some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, they tried to throw him off a cliff. That's in the Gospels too. But that's because they didn't want to accept him as Messiah, just like you.
He was executed for his actions of blasphemy, removing from the Torah, and turning people astray, and desecrating Shabbat.
That's what the
which is why
Orthodox
he
Jews'
is dead.
position is. We get it. That's what the
No, that's
Orthodox
what
Jews'
happened.
position is.
He didn't resurrect.
That's
He
not.
doesn't. He's not here.
Can
He's
you
not on
can you
earth.
can you?
He died
Okay,
for
well,
his sins. That's it.
you think that
That's
he
what
didn't
happened.
resurrect? Can
No,
you
he died
substantiate
for
that?
his sins.
Can you
And
substantiate?
even if he did resurrect, it doesn't change the fact he didn't fulfill the prophecies at all to be the Messiah. As Deuteronomy says,
He did.
miracles do not prove prophecy.
But there's still more prophecies to be fulfilled.
The truth of a prophet. Now,
What does it say?
All right, chill.
The
yeah.
call,
I'm so sick of how you're debating,
verb,
dude.
the call, the perfect. This is third person. This is that common that I was talking about.
Who's the subject?
Plural. Right here. I'm going to click it. I'm going to show you.
I agree with you. It's plural. You think I disagree with you? Like, I agree with you.
I'm going to show you what this means. These
I have to look
the
at the
verb.
end.
Please stop talking.
It's so
Verb.
good. So now let's keep going.
Do you see that? These are your.
Yeah.
Okay. So your verb is here. This is your number. This is whether it's feminine, masculine, or common. This is singular or plural. Okay. So now that you see the action, hold on. I need you to stop talking.
Who's
So
receiving
now
the
that you
action?
see that right here.
Yeah.
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 So what does that V say? What is that right here? Start here. What's that
Yeah.
say?
So what this
The
verse is
call.
saying again?
What is the call?
You want me to answer you? So what this
Yeah, go
verse is
ahead.
saying.
Answer me.
So what this verse is saying, Dakaru, it means stay pierced. Now you told me this is active voice, but your claim is that the subject is God. And if the subject is God and he's receiving the action, that means it's passive voice, not active voice. Active voice would be if the subject was Israel and Israel was speaking and they were saying, we pierce God. That is active voice because then that subject is doing the action. However, the subject here is God speaking about receiving the action of being pierced according to you. You believe God is being pierced here, which would mean this is passive voice, Courtney, something you learned in third grade. So
Okay.
do you or do not concede that the subject is receiving the action? Yes or no? It's very simple.
So God, which is specifically the Father that pierced the Son, and him is called Jesus.
God pierced the Son? God pierced the Son now?
Yes. Yeah.
Courtney, I want you to understand how pagan your religion is. It's like a level of pagan.
Okay.
There's
That's
so
irrelevant.
much idolatry.
Irrelevant
It's like-
to
It's
your.
also the most
I know,
historically
you're running
valid.
From the actual point that we're.
I am. So who is
God
being
is
pierced
the one.
according to you?
I'm, bro. I don't know why you keep Why is it that you can't? So now you're just going to argue. Here, this is what you're arguing. I didn't lie. I had no reason to lie.
Courtney.
Do you agree with this or no? Give me a scholar that would disagree and tell me why.
Do you want me to show you a scholar that a Christian scholars that because
Can you just this?
Yes, this. Me and you both
verb,
agree.
call,
we both agree.
third person, common,
we both
plural.
agree. We both agree. Me and you both agree that they pierced. Is multiple people doing the piercing. Now the question is you hold that the one who's receiving the piercing is God, and God is speaking. Therefore, God is the subject, and God is receiving the piercing according to you. Which would mean it's passive voice, Courtney, because he's receiving the action. This is literally third grade English and grammar. I really.
All right, guys, we're starting to go in circles.
You can't understand if the subject receives the action, and that is passive voice. You understand that?
I don't understand why you're not getting this. Like I'm
gonna just say it one more time. By the way, God is not being pierced here. Ed is concerning, and the context does not point to God being pierced because He saved the people.
Oh my gosh,
destroyed
dude.
the nations. So if God was being pierced, He wouldn't destroy the nations.
I don't understand why this is
Oreo,
like.
Oreo. Here's the problem. It's not passive voice because it's qualitative, third person plural active voice. I don't know how you're getting passive voice.
Who's the subject?
You can state the subject is God.
Okay, according to you, the subject is God. Now, in passive voice.
Passive, if it's passive, it would be Nephal, or I think you pronounce it Nephal, right? It says it would be I was pierced, or he was pierced.
No, because I'll prove to you it's not. Because if you hold that these subject,
Why is that so hard? You're in yeshiva. You should know this.
Because if you hold here that the subject is God and God is speaking, and which I don't hold to that God is being pierced here, because context doesn't point to that at all. But if you hold that the one being pierced here is God, and that He's saying, "It will look to me unto whom they have pierced," or to you, it's whom they pierced. If you're saying the subject is Israel, and God is speaking about the subject, which is then piercing him, then you can say it's active. However, if you're saying the subject of the sentence is God speaking, and God is the subject here, then it would be passive. It depends on who you hold the subject is. I agree with you that if you hold that the subject is Israel here, or even multiple doing the action, that this would be active. But if you're holding the subject to be God and He's receiving the piercing, that is passive.
No.
And that has nothing to do, again, with the fact that all the context lining up does not point to God being pierced.
Okay.
Because God destroys the nations, He destroys the Gentile nations, the Jews come in and they win the war. Nowhere does God die. He intercedes into battle, comes in and destroys the nations. It doesn't make any sense for them to be mourning for God's death in a battle that Jesus never fought in. That is ridiculous and foolish and shows your lack of understanding of context. Again, Courtney, you literally can't understand anything.
My friend.
It's like circles
with the subject is the agent of the verb. That's why I don't know why you're not getting this.
Who's the subject?
I don't know how it's difficult for you to like. I'm gonna pull up a chart. Can I pull up like a chart for you or something? Would this help?
Courtney, even if it's active voice.
Just answer the question. Okay.
Courtney, if you want to claim it's active voice, like Israel's the subject, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Why would I say Israel?
Because in your claim, they're the ones piercing God. So.
Oh my gosh, no, bro. Like,
yes, bro.
I don't know how to. Yeah, he's a yeshiva student. Yeah. I don't know why this is why I thought it was gonna be
I know it's really hard for you to understand context.
We're going in circles at this point, folks.
Bro, we're talking about linguistics, and I'll tell you. Hey, I'll tell you. This one stumped your rabbi too. Listen. This one also stumped your rabbi too. Specifically, I made a video about this stumping your favorite rabbi.
Yeah,
he got cooked on the streets of Jerusalem in his own stomping grounds by a Christian who doesn't even read Hebrew, but yet able to accurately present it from a scholarly academic point of view, and Rabbi Singer didn't know what to do with it. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
We're going to ask you one more time. It's really,
I'm going to pull up a chart for you, okay?
Yeah, God just has to open your mind to the scriptures, dude.
What is right before he dies? What war is being fought?
Specifically, there is nothing within this context. I totally address it.
Everything points to it being after that battle.
Let me show you.
Everything. The mass mourning, all of it. Courtney, all of it.
Verse 10, it
like
says,
literally all of it.
Hello.
Dude.
Verse 10 says, "And I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication.
Keep reading.
He will look on to. I'm gonna keep reading.
Read to 14.
Dude, stop. Just shut up. Shut up.
Bro, just stop talking. They will look unto me, in whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son. On that day, the weeping in Jerusalem will be as great as the weeping in Hadar Ramam.
Keep reading.
In the plains of Megiddo.
Keep reading.
The land will mourn, each clan by itself, with their
Keep reading.
Dude,
okay,
can you
the clan of the house of David wives, the clans of the house of Matan and their wives, the clans of the house of Levi and their wives, the clans of the house. You want me to keep going?
Great. Now we see this exact same morning in Ezekiel 37 with all the tribes after the battle, after the death of this figure. This is after the battle, as the context points to. You can keep running away from context, Courtney.
I'm
just
not
like
running away.
No,
If you
are.
let me
It's so
explain this,
obvious.
I've already told you this
It's so
passage is
obvious.
end times. We have no problem with that. Christians have no qualms with this being about
Yes,
end
you do.
times.
Wait, this is end
Wait,
times.
Patrick,
Wait, if
please
this is end
stop.
times, Courtney, this
Please
is end
let me-
times.
Dude.
You can see, if you can
Why do you do this?
Courtney, if you can
Just
see
stop.
it's end times, let me ask you,
Okay.
did Jesus become pierced during the Second Temple period, or is it when the walls of Jerusalem were invaded and the battle took place? When was he pierced?
So he was pierced the Second Temple period.
Great.
But
No.
verse-
She's already addressed
hold on.
that.
Zechariah chapter 12 in particular, verses 10 and 11 does not absolutely tell us that it specifically the piercing is happening
Right.
at the end times. That's not what it says. It
Yes,
doesn't
it
say.
does.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
it does.
No,
I
it
just
doesn't, dude.
I'm going to read it
You
again.
just read it 3 times now.
That chapter points
If you'll
to that.
just allow
You're trying to pluck one verse, Courtney.
if you'll
It's
just
so
allow
embarrassing.
me, if you'll just allow me to build my case,
Courtney, you're
something that you're not
read
able
the
to do.
verse
If you-
before.
bro.
What does the verse before it say?
That on that day I will set out to destroy all the nations that attack Jerusalem.
Great. Did
Still
God
not
do
a
that?
problem.
Did Jesus do that?
Still not a
Did Jesus
again.
do that? No.
Can you
Yes.
please,
Dude, end times.
again?
This is such a foolish argument.
It's not a foolish. The reason
Foolish
you
to
won't
deny
hear it out
Jesus.
is because you know it's not foolish. You're getting cooked here, and it's not.
Okay, hold on. So if it's not foolish, and the verse before says that
Okay.
God will destroy the Gentile nations that are
Yeah,
attacking them in this
okay.
war,
And then it
and then he's
says,
pierced.
and I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look upon me, whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son.
Great.
Now,
that
if you want, hold on. Hello, can you please pause? Now, if you want me to demonstrate to you how it is that this is the piercing happens at the Second Temple period, but the mourning happens when he breaks back through the sky to rescue your butt, then that's when the mourning happens. If you want me to show that, I will do that.
I know who flies from the sky, just like the unicorns in the sky. And
Oh,
he comes down and he destroys and he destroys the sinners.
Pause. Wait a minute. Don't play games.
Your religion is so
Dude,
so
shut up.
What
Shut
does
up.
Jewish
Your theology
literature?
is so ridiculous.
Goodness gracious, man.
What does
You're
Jewish
acting like a
literature
child.
Say the Messiah will be able to smell. Will the Mashiach be able to smell the tribe that you're from? According to Jewish literature, yes or no?
In the Midrash, yes or no?
I'm asking you. In any of your Jewish literature,
Yeah. So in the Midrash,
yes or no? That's crazy. In Daniel 7, it says
I'm gonna respond to you.
he's coming on the clouds, and yet you think it's crazy.
So it doesn't literally mean that he flies. If you
Oh my
actually
God.
believe
Oh my
that,
gosh.
you
Oh
are
my
literally.
God. Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God.
Courtney.
That's crazy. That's
not
crazy
only-
coming from you
you're not
because
only-
you
you're not
believe
only,
in
like-
Kabbalah. I cannot
Yes,
freaking
which
believe
aligns completely with science.
but that's
Unlike
crazy.
your religion,
Okay.
where God impregnates
So now-
a virgin. Your religion
Okay,
is
so
based
now
on
here's what
paganism
we're gonna
and
do,
wickedness.
guys. Okay, so here's how we're gonna prove
It's the
to him.
biggest
Oh my
falsehood
gosh.
on the planet is Christianity.
So
and you
okay,
preach-
wonderful.
Yeah,
And
we can
you
point
have
out
been
some-
able to defeat it in 2,000 years.
I've defeated it in 1 second.
You haven't.
Your
You
the
haven't.
context.
You haven't. Oh, by the way, did you
Your
tell
religion is
Rabbi
your context.
Singer? Hold on,
I'm
I
gonna
need to
stop
know,
being
did you tell Rabbi
childish.
Singer
I'm gonna
that
mute
you
you.
were a better debater than him? Did you tell him that to his face?
First of all, I'm not disclosing what I've done with the Rabbi Singer to you.
That's funny because
Oh,
you told
and-
me that. You said, no, I'm better than Rabbi Singer. We got it on record.
and-
So I wonder if he would be happy to hear that.
And first of all, the only reason that Rabbi Singer doesn't deal with you is because of how crazy you are. And that
Yeah, the Talmud's crazy, dude.
And that you are unable.
That's what he says about all females, and
Yeah.
I've got the receipts to show
He's
it.
resulting to insults because he's lost.
You are unable, and that you are.
That's what he says about
You're acting
all
like a child. I
females.
told you I'm gonna mute you if you
I've
act
got
like a
the
child.
receipts to show it.
Great, Courtney, I know you're so obsessed with Tobias Singer because you won't debate.
No. It's not obsessed. He's the world's foremost anti-missionary
Goodness gracious,
rabbi.
man.
If he doesn't want to
Yeah, I
debate,
know.
he needs to step aside.
You know what's funny? It was funny. The context of every one of your claims destroys
Okay.
you. What is?
I'm about to show you right now,
Context of the
specifically.
verse that destroys your verse.
Oh, wait, right here. He killed becomes. Okay, go back. The call. He killed becomes the Nichtal. He was. Oh, you got to go over. My face is in the way.
It's typically the passive or reflective.
That's the Nafal. You.
Passive. Now, who's receiving the action here? Okay? Who's receiving it? Who's receiving the action?
I've already told you this. This is what's so crazy. I can't believe you don't.
Courtney, even if you hold its active voice, it doesn't change the fact that context doesn't point to that. Again, you keep
The active voice. You even said it was active. You said, okay, even if it is active.
No, I'm saying that if you hold Israel to be the
is the
subject,
agent of the verb,
I'm saying if you
specifically
hold-
someone. No, the
Hold
subject.
Israel being the subject, that's okay, and that's
Oh
all
my
I have
gosh!
problem.
Oh my gosh!
I have no problem with you saying it's active voice. That doesn't change the
Okay.
fact that
It
all
does-
the context preceding the verse
I'm
has
trying to
nothing to do with the date of your Messiah's death
We
or
are going-
the battle that precedes it.
Again, I need you to refute the fact that we say that he specifically was pierced at the second temple, but this passage in verse 10 doesn't say that this individual was pierced in that era.
Yeah,
Show
we
me
know
that
it
it
does.
says
Because
that.
go to verse 9. Go to Zechariah
Show
12.
me.
Go to Zechariah
Okay, go
12,
ahead.
verse 7 to 9. Read it. Hang on.
You read it. I'm not your reading pons.
No, you are. You're going to read it.
That verse 9 doesn't say he was pierced.
I'm going to show the line that you're afraid
Go
of.
ahead. You read it. Go ahead. Read
Go
it.
down.
It doesn't say anywhere in verse 9 that he was pierced in that time. It's just saying he pours out the Spirit.
Oh my God.
He pours out the Spirit.
It's a messianic battle. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Let's do this. Okay, let's read it. And I will pour out the house. We're gonna go one verse before that. We can't. No, we're going one verse before that. Yeah. So on that day, let's just start reading there. I will make clans of Judah like a blazing pot in the midst of wood, like a flaming torch among sheaves, and they shall devour the right to the left of all surrounding peoples. Okay, let's remember that. While Jerusalem shall again be inhabited in its place in Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is again inhabited, and they destroy the surrounding, and they conquer the surrounding Gentile nations that attack them. This is what happens on that day. And the Lord, so this is the same time, it's and the Lord. If you're going to hold that and the Lord in the next verse is somehow the past now, it's somehow 2,000 years before. That is really foolish and holds no context.
That happens a lot in the prophets. I know you don't know much about it, but
it literally doesn't.
It does. Okay, let me ask you a question.
The next verse,
Educate
where it
us
says,
all. Hey, wait, can you educate us all? Is Zechariah chapter 13, is that also end times?
Zechariah chapter 13.
The next verse, the next chapter over. Yeah. Is it also end times, according to you?
If you're asking if there's a verse in it refer to the past.
No, the whole, like I'm saying, is the chapter, is it also end times?
Yeah.
It is?
It also depends on how we read it in the interpretations, obviously. But if you pull it up, we can go through
on
it.
that
it
day
depends
of
on the
Mount will be open.
interpretations.
You don't know the chapter? You don't know?
Of course I do. What
Okay,
I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that the proof here that we know that this is in the same time is this happened. So inhabitants of Jerusalem, all these things happened. They conquered the lands, and the Lord will. This is the future because it says will. It's a future tense. Give salvation to the tents of Judah first. This is in the future. It's not the past. So it's the future
We're not
tense.
saying that it's the... Bro, why do you keep straw manning the Christian position? Christians don't say that this part is in the past at the second temple. They say
I know,
he was
the verse
pierced at the
after-
second temple. Zechariah 12:10 is saying that they're just going to see him. Not that he's pierced then. It's not difficult. Why are you struggling?
Yeah, so that's not true, Courtney. Because
You don't want
all
it to
the
be true.
context preceding that points to a major war with a battle where multiple die and a figure dies in the war.
Yeah, it says nowhere that he was pierced
It
during
doesn't
that
say
time.
there's a figure that dies in the war.
First of all, it does. If you go to Ezekiel 37, and 38, we see the big war plays out, and the tribes all mourn for this figure who died in the war.
It
So you
doesn't
don't know what
say that there is
in
Zechariah chapter 12 verse. Wait. Where in Zechariah chapter 12?
You don't accept the verses prior.
Why are you doing that? Okay, do me a favor. Show me anywhere in the chapter of Zechariah 12 that there is an individual that dies there from a piercing. Show it.
Yeah.
But not using verse 10.
So we'll prove it very simple with context. So first of all, we know that the previous verses before described God coming down, destroying the armies of the Gentiles, saving the Jews, and the Jews going conquered many lands. That's what we see in the previous verses.
Okay, so it's not actually written there. You're just
no, it is. The context literally points to it being exactly there. I'll show it to you. So God comes down, destroys the surrounding Gentile armies, saves them. A major portion of Israel dies, and this figure dies that we know. But what happens is God saves them through destroying the armies. So then what we have is then what we have.
I'm still waiting for you to show me where the individual is.
So let me show you and stop talking. So then what we have is the destruction of multiple people, and the destruction, and they're mourning. They're mourning and they're very sad. And it says they will look to God, so they will look unto me. Et asher dakaru. Et meaning concerning here, as it does in multiple other places. And we know it's not God being pierced because God doesn't get hurt in the battle. He's the one who saves them through destroying the armies. God does not get pierced here, and Jesus is not the one.
Okay, all of these are just a bunch of claims. So
it's not claims. That's what the passage is saying.
Gotcha.
So arguing with you is like arguing with the
We're going to go over to him. We're going to go over to Zechariah 13 since he doesn't know how to be quiet. Zechariah 13. Is all of this also?
I have to leave in 5 minutes. So
okay, well, let's get to it then. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it, Courtney. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
On that day, a fountain will be opened to the house of. It sounds like a continuation, doesn't it? It does, yeah. On that day, a fountain will be opened to the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to cleanse them from sin and impurity, right? On that day, I will banish the names of the idols from the land, and they will remember no more, declares the Lord, right? End times, you agree, yes or no?
Let's keep reading.
Yeah, I mean, do you not know the passage? You're an Orthodox Jew and you don't know the passage.
Courtney, let's keep reading.
Okay, you can read. You can continue to read.
No. See how embarrassing this is?
I will read the whole chapter. I thought as an Orthodox Jew...
You just resort to insult.
I'm sorry.
It's not a way to debate.
This is what you do, and it's embarrassing.
Mute him. I thought I was talking to the guy who said, and I quote, "I'm better than Tovia Singer." This is about end times, so maybe I just assumed. I apologize for assuming. Let's continue to read.
I apologize for
assuming. I will remove both the prophets and the spirit of the impurity of the land. And if anyone still prophesies, their father and their mother to whom in which they were born will say to them, "You must die because you have told lies in the name of the Lord." Right? Then their own parents will stab the one and whom prophesies through. Okay? On that day, every prophet will be ashamed of their prophetic visions. They will not put on a prophet's garment of hair in order to deceive. Each will say, "I'm not a prophet, I'm a farmer. The land has been my livelihood since my youth." If someone asks, "What are these wounds on your body?" they will answer, "The wounds in which I was given in the house of my friends." Is that end times, yes or no?
Well, I keep reading.
Ken or low?
Ken.
Yeah, Ken or low? It's like easy. Yes
keep reading.
or no?
Keep reading. I said yes. Keep reading.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Keep reading.
I
want
you
to get up to the part where it says the Gentiles will come to the Jews.
Oh my gosh, that's oh my gosh.
Why do you want to derail with lies and iniquities?
What? Okay, that's great.
Okay.
We'll get there. You got 5.
Great.
Wait, I've got 4 minutes to make my point with you. Okay, so who is this individual that stabbed through here?
In Zechariah 12:10?
Because Tovia says it's Jesus. Do you agree with that?
Tovia does not say it's Jesus.
Oh, he doesn't? You want to put money on that?
Yeah, I'll put money that Tovia does not agree Zechariah 12:10 is Jesus. As I had
No, I
conversation
said
with him
13.
a couple of days ago.
Even locked in?
A couple of days ago.
Wait, Tovia says Zechariah chapter 13, the one who is stabbed through is Jesus.
Yeah, so what verse?
Do you agree?
Let's go to that verse.
Because he calls him a false prophet. On day, verse 4.
Yeah, so this verse itself does not point to an exact figure. which means that Tovia can infer. Tovia wants to have what he thinks contextually is the right example. That's great. Now,
Is he going against the oral tradition?
No, there's no going against the oral tradition. People can have their own. Again, hold on. People can have. Again, you want to respond to you? Great.
Yeah.
People can have their own interpretation, just like Tovia has a beautiful interpretation of Zechariah 12:10. How it's October 7th, actually, which is a beautiful interpretation.
Oh my gosh, that's ripped out of context, and you're up here for the last hour arguing that Christians rip it out of context. That's wild.
First of all, because it's not. So first of all,
wild.
Again, can I respond to what you're saying?
Yeah, no, you just basically gave a pass to Rabbi Singer to interpret it as October 7th. But Christians can't say it's about Jesus, even though the individual in the passage is not said to be pierced in that time.
Because Jesus is pierced in the second temple period, okay?
Yeah,
the Messiah comes
back.
The Messiah comes.
Look, I want everyone to see this.
Hold on. The Messiah comes according to Isaiah.
Look at this. Look at this.
You can keep showing this. This has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Individual is that had wounds between his hands. So I can't think of anyone else. And I encourage you, look at Zechariah 13:6 and just look at the nervousness of the translators in commentaries.
So I just have a question here. We've already So Rabbi Singer goes on to substantiate that this passage is about Jesus. That's what he just said.
So if Rabbi, as I responded to
look. Hold on, everybody. Also, here's another rabbi that substantiates that Zechariah 13 is about the end times. Pause.
You can keep shouting.
Is the false prophet that's being done. So we need to test whether or not the one with in his hand.
Guys, be quiet.
Again, if you look at the commentators,
be quiet.
Again, Courtney, you can't appeal to Tovia Singer or other rabbis for their own personal interpretation as the authoritative interpretation. That's just you being false.
What percentage do I assign that passage should likely to be in Jesus? I can't think of anyone else in history who was a false prophet who people believed spoken out what that was not. And the key, most important feature of this individual is that had wounds between his hands.
All right. So if we go here, guys, so here is so clear. He says individual. He says this individual.
That's great. That has nothing
He
to do
says
with
this individual.
Okay, you can.
The one who had wounds. This individual here. This individual, which is, by the way, a continuation of this chapter here. It's a continuation. Hold on,
pause. What does he say in the verse? He says, "I am not a prophet."
Yeah.
Courtney.
No, pause. Pause.
I am not a prophet. So, Courtney, your Messiah.
Hold on, I need you to pause. Quit talking.
He's a heretic.
You don't want me to build my case because you're cooked. You're done.
No, I'm not, because I was trying to respond.
If someone asks, what are these wounds? Oh my God, if you're not going to... What is it?
I think it's time you get out of here.
You are definitely... I can tell how immature you are.
Well, that's been...
You made it plain. I want to respond to what she said. Because she told you to her claim first. No, I'm not. Because what she's saying is that I have to hold Tovia Singer's personal interpretation.
You don't. But even hold on. Even the other rabbi also agrees that it's end times. Now I'm going to show you why it's
Dude, that's not.
Stop talking. I thought you had to go. Wait, I thought you had to go. It's been 5 minutes.
I can't wait.
I thought you had to go.
Courtney, answer the question. Is Rabbi Tovia Singer
that you had
an authoritative commentator in Judaism?
Can you please stop talking so I can build my case and show you? I'm just going to build, as soon as you leave, I'm going to build my case and it's just going to be bad for you. So at least if you're quiet, you'll get a chance to rebut.
Courtney, can you agree with me though?
I'm just going to build my case when you leave. And
Oh my
everyone's going to
days.
see and they're going to think you got cooked.
Do I have to appeal to Tobia's personal interpretation?
Relax. Just
Courtney, answer the question. Do I have to?
hold on, dude. You don't have to keep talking.
Chill out,
Just
dude.
relax.
You've been high strung this whole life.
Her case first.
I said you don't have to.
Okay,
You
so
don't have to.
great. So I reject Tobias' personal.
Okay, great. I'm glad you rejected.
Wonderful.
Now make your argument. Great.
Okay, wonderful. You reject it. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
So-
good.
So the circles show that the messianic figure is replying to the false prophet who is asking the messianic figure about the messianic figure's wounded hands. The black right here.
No, that's not what it
Be
says.
quiet. I said let me build.
That's not what it says.
Be quiet.
That's
This
not
is
what the verse says.
bro.
You're just lying.
No, would you let me build my
Oreo,
case?
Let her talk.
The verse is the false
Oreo,
prophet
Chosen.
and saying
Oreo, you cannot. Okay, you cannot have an.
You can-
can't have a conversation if you're going to interrupt someone building their case.
so you can't lie though. You can't just be lying straight on the
It
screen.
says
Well, then-
Esher Ve'amar. It says Ve'amar how many times? The subject switches one,
The one
two, third.
is the one who's being pierced here the false
Oh my
prophet
God,
or
would
not?
you? Okay,
Good
bro.
question.
This and he says,
Yeah.
and then it's and he says again. The subject switches. I'm trying to show you.
Doesn't.
Be
Because-
quiet.
All right, dude.
Why are you scared of me?
Because
Yeah,
what
drop him.
Yeah,
drop
you know
him and
what?
just let me.
That's it.
Finally.
Little piece.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. Well, if he would have been quiet, he would have had a chance to refute it. But now he's not going to get a chance to refute it. The black underline shows the false prophet is speaking the question about the hands wounded of a different individual. We can see the subject who speaks changes as the Hebrew says, ve'amar, meaning, and he says, meaning to someone else. So if I say, and it says, or and she said, or and he said, I am saying that the one that is speaking is replying to someone else. Okay, to someone else, a question. That person then replies with the ve'amar here. Okay, that person then replies with ve'amar, and he says back to answer. So you have two people having a conversation, one with the wounded hands and one that's a false prophet. Specifically, that's why I did this so that you could see the breakdown. Okay, so this circle here says Messiah says to make it easier for you to see it. This individual says, because he was asked, he says, and I'm not a false prophet speaking here. This is this false prophet. This is verse 5, okay? And he says, this would be the Messianic king figure, speaks that he was wounded in the house of his friends. The Messiah being spoken to back right here. And he says, the false prophet says back to the Messiah right here. False prophet speaks to Messiah the question. Do you see how the subject changes? And the ve'amar, there's two ve'amars here. It completely changes in whom is being spoken of. So when you read the English, it says, and one shall say unto him, who's the him and who's the one? What are these wounds in thy hands? So now let me ask everyone, can you just tell me who is the one that has the wounds in the hands by the fact that it says, and one shall say, versus to the him? Who's the one that's answering the question versus who is the one that's pierced? You can't see it unless you go and you look at the way the Hebrew has it structured. Okay, and one individual, someone, there's two individuals, shall say unto him. Who's this him? You got this one and you got this one. And then so it says, this individual is the one that is saying or speaking a question to this him. What? Here's the question. What are these wounds in thy hands? So this individual asks this individual the question, what are the wounds in thy hands? Then this individual, he, this is this one, this is that he, shall answer that individual and say, those in which I was wounded in the house of my friends. So you've got Jesus answering the question that the false prophet posed. You're done. Orthodox Judaism is done, bro.
Yeah,
Get out of
there's
here.
more reasons than just
And
that.
I cooked Singer on this. Rabbi Singer cooked himself the moment he admitted that this passage was about Jesus. Because then it's like, wait a minute, Rabbi, so you believe that this is about Jesus? Well, that's mighty funny, because if you look at verse 4, it says, then their own parents will stab the one who prophesies through. So wait a minute, did Jesus get stabbed through by his own mother and his own father? No, he didn't. Joseph wasn't there, and Mary was weeping. So who, this individual that's being, quote, stabbed through here, who's told lies and considered a false prophet, is the false prophet whom his parents stab him through in the coming time of Zechariah 12:13 era. And then it says, on that day, every prophet will be ashamed. That is, this false prophet will be ashamed of their prophetic vision. They, meaning the false prophets, will not put on a prophet's garment of hair in order to deceive. Each will say, I am not a prophet. I'm a farmer, and the land has been my livelihood since my youth. Sorry, I'm fixing to have to run. Then it says, it has been my livelihood since my youth. And then it says, if someone says, that's that one individual that says, what are these wounds in your body? They will answer. So see, you only see it if you go into the Hebrew. You have two individuals, the false prophet and the messianic king that has the wounded hands. And he was wounded in the house of his friends. Where did that happen? You can see it, Isaiah 53. You can see it obviously at the second temple, but it recaps it in Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10. And that's how you break that down.
Well done.
So, anyway.
Well done. It's a pleasure to meet you, Corey. I think this is the first time I've seen you on this panel, but I haven't been going live as often as I used to. So maybe way back in the day I did. All right, we can move on to the next guest.
It's great. I followed you.
Yeah, I followed you too. God bless.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, because I don't have.
If you
Yeah, when there's a Orthodox Jew, I usually just point him towards the evidence for the resurrection, because the messianic prophecies, like, I'm not great at arguing those, and I know that they are often vague. But when another point I was trying to make to him is that the Jews in the first century, including members of the Sanhedrin, believed that these prophecies were about Jesus, and they were quoting them. They've got Matthew many times over quoting them. It's not like they didn't know their scriptures and they didn't know the context. So it's like, you can have that position, you can have this Orthodox position,
absolutely.
but it's not the right. Jesus is still Jesus.
Well, and it's funny. It's funny because he's going to say that Christians are not allowed to take Jewish concepts without appealing to all of the Talmud, but he's going to do the very same thing when he comes to the New Testament. He's going to not acknowledge Nicodemus, which you, I think, already mentioned, and he's going to say, no, 12 disciples, that's it.
Right.
So, and he does this to get away from the fact that, as you mentioned, specifically with the Sanhedrin, there was. And yet he's going to hold you to a standard that he himself breaks. It's common, first of all, with him, but with many Orthodox counter missionaries.
Yeah, and I find it kind of sick how much you felt it was necessary to start insulting during that debate, like just outright either insulting Christianity or Jesus or you personally. It's like, that's not a great debate tactic there. That's not how you do that. But we could just jump into how
when the debate
heinous.
Is lost, the only thing left
Right.
is personal attack.
Right, for sure. But we could jump into how many sick passages there are in his Talmud if you really wanted to get, into the dirt with it. But because there's a lot of nasty stuff going on in the Talmud. But
if you do you upload these things, or do you?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to get this live.
Yeah, no, this is going to be uploaded on my YouTube channel. You can find the link in the bio. It'll all be on YouTube.
Are you okay with me getting this and clipping my portion? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's cool. It's gonna be a little odd because it's just me sitting in my room because I've got it on a separate camera, but you can still hear everything. So.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. I'll click your link in the bio, and if I have any issues, I'll just reach out to you.
Yeah, you got it. And I can also just end up posting it tomorrow off TikTok too, if you have an issue with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, God bless. Appreciate you.
Have a good night.
You as well.
All right, love as well.
Yeah, immediately when that guy got up here, just high strung the whole time. It's crazy. Honey Lee. God is multi-personal. 3 persons, 1 essence. That's to answer your question there, but it's looking like you're having issues coming up. God that Jesus prayed to is the Father, the God of all flesh. God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, 3 persons, 1 essence. Look like, Honey Lee, you're having issues with the connection there, so we're going to move on to Neshama. Neshama. What's going on, Neshama?
Hey, what's up?
I'm chilling. How are you?
Thank God, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank God. Yeah, I think there's a small lag. I don't have a lot of good signal in my apartment.
That's all right. We can deal with it.
No, I mean, you said something about the Talmud, and I want to ask you, like, what's the Talmud?
That's the 4th century set of documents Orthodox Jews use. It's based in Orthodox Judaism.
Yeah, but what is it?
You want a definition of the Talmud? It's a 4th century Orthodox Jewish document. It's teachings of the Pharisees.
Yeah, but what's contained in it? Teachings of the Pharisees?
Yeah, like Sanhedrin.
Like, if you were to open a page of the Talmud, what's the structure of the Talmud? Like, how do you read it?
Oh, I'm thinking. Yeah, no. It's collection of teachings in a wide range of subjects, including law, ethics, philosophy, customs, history, folklore, messianic knowledge. The 4th century document is what I'm referring to. Calls Jesus a sorcerer.
From
The Babylonian Talmud.
So, well, yeah, there's 2, and they were both done around the same time. The Jerusalem Talmud on the same time. The reason why I ask is because I hear this a lot about people saying that there's a lot of nasty stuff in the Talmud.
There is.
And, right, sure. Like what?
What does it call women? Says something about women in there that's pretty nasty.
It says something about women. And
Yeah,
it's pretty
it
nasty.
says woman is a pouch full of excrement brimming with blood.
Yeah, where is that in the Talmud?
Oh, let's see. Are you an Orthodox Jew? You are? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you were cut out a little bit there.
I am an Orthodox Jew.
Yeah. So why don't you believe in your Messiah? Do you think he's a
We can talk
sorcerer?
about that later. I want to stick on the Talmud.
Do you think he's a sorcerer? It's in Nida. Oh, wait, no, hold
I
on.
think he's a what?
Shabbos 152a. Shabbos 152a.
Watch 52a. Do you have a specific line?
No.
Okay. Oh, it's 151. Sorry, Shabbat. One 52.
Have you ever read the New Testament?
Yes, many times.
Okay. And what did you find in the New Testament that, seemed to you to be something other than Jesus having rose from the grave and presented himself as the Messiah to 1st century Jews who believed on him?
It does say that. I agree with you. It does say that.
Yeah, but like, what do you think actually happened?
I don't know what happened.
Okay. Are you familiar with the minimal facts argument?
The minimal facts argument? What do you mean?
It's an argument to it's an inductive argument to show that Jesus had to have risen from the grave. It has the most explanatory power over any other theory.
Okay.
and it reflects the the common historical beliefs of the events surrounding the life of Jesus and his disciples, showing that it's not a it's basically not a hallucination. It was not a some sort of conspiracy or lie. I think that's also shown just in the writings themselves. I mean, they're quite beautiful, especially of the Apostle John.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't hate Jesus. I don't hate Christians. I love Christians, actually. I think
Orthodox
you guys are amazing people.
Orthodox
You brought a lot of
Judaism.
positivity to the world.
Do you think he was a sorcerer that led Israel astray?
Do I think he was a sorcerer?
Yeah, that's what the Talmud says.
Like Harry Potter?
A sorcerer is what the Talmud calls
It doesn't
Jesus.
say that, actually.
Yeah, it does. Yep, I can pull up the quote. Hold on.
No, it doesn't, because
It
it
does.
tells you. Yeah, you can pull up the actual tractate, not the quote,
Track tape?
and then read from the top. That's what a page of the Talmud is. Yeah. So here's the thing. You have to understand that individual that's in the Talmud that you're referring to, that
Hmm.
is called a sorcerer, cannot mathematically cannot be Jesus,
That's literally who it is.
because it's talking about a time before Jesus was ever on earth. It's talking about, I believe could be either 100 to 200 years prior, because it tells you
No.
in that page. You're going to say no, but you've never read the Talmud. No offense. Sorry. Like, you don't know anything about the Talmud, clearly, because you couldn't even define in the beginning of this question, of this discussion. In the beginning of that page, it tells you who's the king. And you can look when that king was ruling, and you'll find that it's before Jesus.
I don't know
And
about.
Yeshu,
Hold on.
right,
Let me pull it up.
is actually a really common name. It just means Joshua, or Josh, So there's been many Yeshus throughout time. I'm trying to find this quote about women in Shabbat 152a, and I can't see it. If you can help me with the line, that'd be great.
So here's the thing, man. I just brought that up because the dude that was representing Orthodox Christianity was resorting to insults, and he was basically saying that, well, he was reflecting the common Orthodox position, which is that Jesus is a false prophet. Basically, he's a fake Messiah, is what he called him, and then he was insulting multiple times over, and he was insulting Christianity. You've been more respectful, and you've been able to say that you actually respect Christians, but he was saying that Christianity is uh, pagan religion and it's the most sick religion out there. And I was just bringing that up, and that's what you're jumping on. But I just brought that up to say that we could jump to the Talmud and point out that the Orthodox Jewish scripture, or their teachings, are oftentimes not all that great either. That's the only reason I brought that up. I don't necessarily want to get into the dirt of this. That's not my intention. I was just saying that as a rebuttal to him saying that we
But
are
here's the thing: if you're going,
terrible people and that Jesus is a fake Messiah.
Sure, right, and that's one Orthodox Jew. I'm different.
Yeah,
okay,
that's great. So we don't have to have that discussion.
I don't want to make you an enemy. Okay, and I don't think Christianity is the most sacrilegious religion out there. I think there's a lot more contenders for that, even from an Orthodox Jewish perspective. I mean, we can talk about Islam, that completely outright rejects the Torah and the Tanakh. At least you guys accept it, So to say that Christians are sacrilegious, the most sacrilegious, is ridiculous. That's probably a young Jew who doesn't know much about.
Yeah, extremely disrespectful and high strung.
Yeah.
But so what I wanted to get into with him, was not all that dirt and grime. I wanted to show him that from a historical perspective, Jesus actually rose from the grave. If he did rise from the grave, then we can trust that, since he's shown to have power over life and death, he prophesied his own his own resurrection. We can trust that he actually is the Messiah, as his disciples believed, as members of the Sanhedrin believed. You know, and as this tradition goes from the first century onward, that Jesus is the savior of the world. Sanhedrin 67a.
If the Sanhedrin believed,
Yeah,
okay, who's the king?
hold on.
Find me who the king is first.
I don't have to change replace witnesses.
That'll give you the timeline of when we're talking, right?
So
What was the page again? You said it was 52?
so we see that in the New Testament, that was the story that was pinned on Jesus by the ones that put him up for crucifixion. They tried to argue that he was a sorcerer as well. So it's reflecting first century traditions that
I
Jesus
believe the
was.
charges. I believe the charges that were given to Jesus in the gospel are not sorcery, but they
No,
were
it is.
blasphemy.
Yeah, so
And,
they called his miracles works of the devil. They said it was works of Beelzebub directly to his fate to his
we don't
face.
believe in the devil, so that doesn't make sense. I don't think I've ever read that in the New Testament.
You've never read that in the New Testament? That's
What verse is that?
It's the one where Jesus talks about blasphemy of the Holy Spirit directly afterwards.
Okay. What was the Sanhedrin tractate again?
But the devil does appear in the Old Testament scriptures. It's like, so it is a part of Jewish scripture.
We don't define it in the same way you do.
Not anymore.
The way we see the devil. Well, there is a verse. There is a verse, and gosh, where is it? Is it in Isaiah, where it talks about Lucifer? I think it is Isaiah.
Yep, it is.
But Lucifer is a planet. It's a star. And when you read the beginning of that chapter, I believe God is speaking almost the entire chapter, and he says that this is addressing the king of Tyre specifically.
Well, Satan also
So
shows up in
Tyre,
Job.
The devil? No.
Satan also shows up in Job.
Yes, that's true. Now, Satan, do you know what Satan means in Hebrew?
Adversary.
Hasatan?
Yep, adversary. So that's what they Beelzebub as well. So it's in Matthew 12, chapter 12, verse 24 is when they accuse him of casting out demons by the ruler of demons.
Oh, but this isn't the charge. This is like
No.
I'm talking about like the charges that they actually hit him with in order to crucify him. Like,
Yeah, the way that they convinced.
I've read this before. This is different. I'm talking about when he was actually brought in front of the Sanhedrin in order to be charged with crimes. Right? They didn't charge him with what you're saying, with like devil.
I never
like
said that.
The devil or something like that.
I never said that's why they crucified him. Just saying
it was blasphemy and another charge. We were talking about when they charged them. That's what I brought up.
No, I never said that. That's why they charged him. I'm just saying that it's in the Talmud. It's reflecting an earlier tradition, which is shown in the New Testament itself, that they thought he was a sorcerer.
Okay, so what's the tractate? I'll pull it up right now.
43.
Sanhedrin what? 50? It's like 53.
40,
I think, or
43. 43a. 43a.
43a. Okay. We'll get to the part where it's actually talking about it, because it goes over a different story.
Some Orthodox Jewish scholars and
Doesn't it
commenters
say that he was like hung on a tree?
it says he was a
Sure.
here, I'll get the actual quote. It also names 5 disciples by different names, obviously, then, but Matthew's in there. Um, some Orthodox scholars say that this is about Jesus of Nazareth. A lot of them reject it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. They can say that.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
not
but
it's
the-
not
the
universally
consensus
agreed
is we
upon.
reject that. It's about Jesus.
It doesn't see a consensus. It's not uniformly agreed upon.
Well, you said the majority reject it, right?
Many do, I said. Some I don't know
That
the
would
exact
mean-
percentages.
I'm pretty sure you said the majority.
Many
but
contemporary
that's fine.
scholars.
I'll tell you this: the majority of us do reject that this is talking about Jesus. Like the consensus really isn't really about Jesus, because we know who the king is of that time.
No, it is the majority do not accept that view, emphasizing the passage's theological and historical context rather than direct historical reference to Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, so the consensus is that we don't accept it to be
Yeah.
that. Right?
So that's
So,
regardless.
This
Regardless,
is
you
what I mean. Is like the Talmud is it.
what? Well, regardless, Jesus Christ, I would argue, historically rose
So-
from the grave, showing that he's got power over life and death. Therefore, we can trust he's actually the Messiah, as the scriptures talk about. But it's
So,
something
let
that's
me-
had
let me
to be
explain to you
revealed.
why I don't. Yeah, let me explain to you why I don't accept Jesus as the Messiah, because it's not actually about the miracles. The miracles, if they happened, it doesn't change anything for me. Even if he resurrected from the dead, that doesn't change anything for me, because that's like, I'm not rejecting it because of historicity. Because at the end of the day, right? Like if I were to say like, oh well, the Gospels were written in 70 AD to 100, and this is inconsistent, that's inconsistent. Any person can throw those same questions back at me about Moses, or about King David, or about Isaiah, right? Because at the end of the day, right, I can't prove that Moses wrote the Torah from an objective, as an objective fact, right? I believe Moses wrote the Torah through faith because I'm Jewish, right? I believe that Isaiah wrote Isaiah through faith because I'm Jewish, right?
I don't believe
But
that Matthew, Mark, Luke,
realistically,
and
I can
John.
prove it to you.
I don't believe the authors of the New Testament Gospels were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John based on faith. I believe based on the unanimous historical evidence that supports it. There's absolutely no data to go against that being a fact.
There's no unanimous support for that, actually.
In scholars, in
unanimous support for that,
scholars,
actually, when it comes to
no, I'm not talking about
scholars,
scholar.
when it comes to
I'm not doing it. No,
scholars-
pause, because you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's the scholarly consensus. I'm saying that it's unanimous from a historical standpoint when it comes to evidences and attributions, as well as internal evidence within those documents. There's absolutely nothing to go against it. There's unanimous consensus in the manuscripts, and when there's a title appearing, it's always Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There's never any argumentation against it. And the early church fathers, though they do argue against the author of James, some of them bicker on who wrote James, some of them bicker on who wrote Hebrews, and ultimately there's actually no answer for who wrote Hebrews. They never once questioned the authorship of the Gospels. They always say that they're the memoirs of the apostles. So you got unanimous consensus in manuscripts as well as early attributions to it when people are talking about who passed these documents down. That's extremely high degree of probability that we've got the memoirs of the apostles, and this is from the historical method. Then on top of that, we've got internal evidence showing that these authors were familiar with first century trade routes that are dug up in archaeology, first century places. And we've also got a shipwreck account in the book of Acts, for example, that shows that we've got actual eyewitness. And this is, we can go into the details, but it's called undesigned coincidences that also show. That's why traditional authorship is a view that's actually growing in scholarship, and more and more scholars are getting by the position that we've actually got the proper authors of these documents, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If they did write them, and it doesn't really even matter, because scholarly consensus shows that the disciples did believe that they had seen Christ risen from the grave. They were persecuted for that belief. Even an enemy of Christians, Paul, was persecuted for his belief that he had seen Christ risen from the grave. Unanimous consensus that he was um, crucified under Pontius Pilate as well. So there's all kinds of data to support the New Testament accounts as being historically reliable, on top of just what I've mentioned briefly.
Okay, so you're using the word unanimously pretty liberally, I think, because unanimous within the church fathers, maybe within the church, within Christian scholars, within that sort of stuff. But when it comes to scholars outside of the religion, there is no unanimous belief that the Gospels were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There's no unanimous that the Gospels were written during the time of Jesus or whatever. There's no unanimous consent of any of those things. It's debated.
No, listen to me closely, because that's not what I'm saying. You're straw manning again. It's a fallacy, so I don't want to stop you there. I'm talking about early, like 2nd and 3rd century sources. Unanimously, when people are talking about who wrote Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they always say they call them the memoirs of the apostles. This is like Orthodox Christianity. This is what the church in the 1st century was. This doesn't, like, we're not talking about Gnosticism. They never even mentioned those Gospels, Gnostics. So when we have anyone at all in the 1st or the 2nd century or 3rd century or 4th talking about authorship, it's unanimous that it is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We have also got unanimous manuscript evidence. These same people who are talking about the memoirs of the apostles are also arguing about certain books in the New Testament, such as James and Hebrews, but they never once argue about the authorship of these gospel, of the biographies of Jesus. That shows that they actually knew who was writing them. We've also got internal evidence in these gospels that they're 1st century documents written by the eyewitness. They're stemming from the eyewitness community, which fits the bill. 1st century. No one disagrees with that. Yeah. So that places it within the lifetime of the apostolic contention. What do you say? That doesn't place it within a lifetime, technically. Yeah, it does. It doesn't place it within the lifetime, technically, okay, right? Because the disciples were not around at 90, okay? And they weren't around in 80. John was. And where a lot of scholars, John was around until, let's see, when was he around till? 90s. Was it 90? Mm-hmm. Are you sure? Yep. And the early attestation shows that he died at an old age, very old age. Okay, that's fine. The majority of the rest of the Gospels were not around at that time. Yeah, they were. That's fine. That's going to be your word against mine. Either way, I was trying to explain to you in the beginning of this that that's not even the reason why I don't believe it. That can all be true, and it doesn't change anything to me. Well, because the main... What's up? Well, let me explain to you why, and you'll have a different understanding as to why Jews reject Jesus, because the majority of us don't reject him because of historicity, okay? The majority of us reject him because of what the New Testament teaches, in a sense of what is it telling you to do? Yeah, the New Covenant. It. Like, when it's telling us... The New Covenant of Jeremiah 31:31. It's prophesied by Jeremiah that there'd be a new covenant. That's fine. I agree with you, but we don't believe that a new covenant means that we completely reject the law, because especially in Psalms, David writes that the law is eternal. We don't reject the law. God commands us to teach. We don't reject. God commands us to teach every. There's a lag. Can I finish my point? There's a lag. I try not to interrupt you. There's a lag, so I think that's what's going on. The Torah says that you will teach these commandments to your children and your children's children forever. So we don't believe that the law is going to go away.
we believe the law stays when the Messiah, even with this new covenant, the law continues. So we're not getting rid of it, right? So any sort of rejection of the Torah, we cannot follow that. Plain and simple. It's one of the reasons why we reject Islam too, because they reject the Torah. So if we're going to say that the New Testament, right, it has all the legitimate historicity, right? That's fine. That doesn't change the fact that Paul teaches explicitly that the law is a curse. Paul teaches explicitly that you're no longer under the law. It is taught in Acts that you don't have to keep kosher anymore. It is taught in all throughout, especially in Paul's letters. It's mostly there. It's not really in the gospel as much. That the Torah is done and away with. This is why we reject it. It has nothing to do with historicity. That's a boring argument.
Are you done?
I don't care about the historicity. I don't care about when I'm done talking, that's when I'm done.
Yeah, I think you made your point, dude.
Even the miracles that he did.
Now you're just going off on what you don't care about. So I heard why you reject Christianity, but it's actually a straw man because we actually haven't done away with the law. It's just like a lot of the dictations for the nation of Israel don't fall under the Gentiles, and it's not a salvific thing for the anymore according to the new covenant. And Jesus is the new covenant. So what Jesus says, he showed by resurrecting from the grave that he's got authority over life and death. What he says goes because he's literally God. He's the one that gave us that law. Now he wrote the 10 Commandments, and what you're referring to when it says it'll be we'll be teaching it throughout eternity. That's in reference specifically to the 10 Commandments, which Christians still try to live by. It's just we don't rely on it for. I would argue it is, but we don't rely on it for salvation. That's the difference between the new covenant and the old covenant. The old covenant was what it's according to Christianity itself. The old law shows us our own sinfulness, as is shown in Jeremiah 31:31, the covenant that they broke. But because of God's great love and mercy for us, he gave us the new covenant, which is a covenant where we're saved by grace through faith. We're children of Abraham through faith, and Abraham wasn't a perfect man either. So he was made perfect. He was justified by his faith. That's the same way Christians are justified, and we're reconciled to the Father by Jesus' sacrifice, which justifies us and makes us perfect in the eyes of God, according to the new covenant. I will forgive their iniquity, never again will I remember their sin. So that's the whole beauty of Jesus Christ, is he shows God's love for us. So we don't have to abide by the laws of Israel anymore for salvation. Like Messianic Jews, they don't eat pork, but it's not something that if they do, that they'd be suddenly condemned to hell. Because in the new covenant, the author of the new covenant, the one who brought the new covenant, who is the new covenant, the covenant of his body and his blood, Jesus Christ, commanded, or he declared all animals clean for us to eat now. So that's something that he did himself. We can trust him because he showed himself to be trustworthy. He rose from the grave, literally. He's got authority over life and death. He is God in the flesh.
Okay, so Deuteronomy 6 is not about the 10 Commandments exclusively. But
the
if
10
you
Commandments
want to
are
talk about the 10 Commandments, and you're saying that the law is not done away with, then fine. Do you keep the Sabbath?
The 10 Commandments are in Deuteronomy 6. And yes, Jesus is my Sabbath, and I keep.
They're in Deuteronomy 5.
This is a commandment, the statutes and ordinances that your Lord God has commanded me to teach you, that you may follow them in the land they're about to enter and possess. Do that you may fear the Lord your God all the days of your life by keeping all these statutes and commandments I'm giving you, your son and your grandson, that you may have long life. Listen, Israel, be careful to follow them, that you may prosper and multiply greatly, because the Lord God of your fathers has promised you a land flowing with milk and honey. It's directly after the 10 Commandments. So in context, that's what he's talking about.
Right. So why does it say follow all of the divine laws and commandments that I enjoin upon you?
Yeah, there's a reason he wrote those 10 down, brother. That's the moral law of God.
With this. I asked you a question. The Shabbat.
Yes, I already answered you. Did you not hear my answer?
You said that Jesus is your Shabbat, but
He's
the
my
Ten
rest.
Commandments
Yeah.
says
Amen.
that 6 days you shall work, and on the seventh day you shall rest.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't keep the Sabbath.
We are Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath, brother. He is our rest. So yes, I rest on the seventh day.
Is the reason why I have to reject what you're saying, right?
Well, that's because you reject the Messiah and what he taught.
Changed, and that
you reject the Messiah and what he taught. The Messiah, who is the new covenant.
Telling me that the law, when you're saying that the law has changed and that the Sabbath is no longer a specific day out of the week that you are supposed to set aside in order to rest, and that you're supposed to do 6 days of all your work, all the stuff that you need to do, and on the seventh day you're supposed to rest. That shifted to the rest is a more so spiritual thing that you receive when you have faith in Jesus.
Yeah, so
that's a change in
stone
with that.
in
and
this.
That, to me, from my perspective, you're not following the 10 Commandments if you don't follow the Sabbath. And listen, you don't have to. You're not Jewish, and that's fine. But I'm saying from a Jewish perspective, why we reject him as Jews. Why?
Yeah, so if you accepted your Messiah, then you would know that he is our rest, brother. But unfortunately, you don't accept his messianichood. And I wish you would, because he's the most beautiful man who ever lived. And he actually rose from the grave, showing he's got authority over life and death. No, I am, but it's like we're not. Things have, Jesus did this many times, right? In his teachings, in the Sermon on the Mount, for example, he said, "You've heard it said, you shall not murder, but I say anyone who hates his brother in his heart." That's not something that's like explicitly commanded. God says, "Do not murder" in the Old Testament, but it's not something explicitly. Jesus expands on it, and he actually tightens the noose on it. So in the same way that he changes how we perceive the commandment to not commit adultery and the commandment to not murder, he changes the way we perceive the Sabbath. He is our rest, because he allows us to rest from our works. He allows us to rest from the works of the law, needing to keep every jot and tittle of the law perfectly to be able to be justified and enter into heaven. That's not what is required of us for salvation. It's simply faith. So we're saved by that faith through by the grace of God.
I get that.
That's the point.
You keep talking about salvation and stuff. I feel like, do you believe that Jews believe that if you do not keep the Torah, you go to hell?
I think that. Okay, do you think that you're justified by faith like Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, and who do you have and who do you have faith in?
God.
The Father, right? So, do you have faith that the Father would bring this new covenant in which he'd remember our sins no more? According to Jeremiah?
He would bring it. Yeah, it's in. You're talking about in Jeremiah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe in that prophecy.
Yeah. So why on earth don't you accept the new covenant and you still think that we have to keep the law? Like, why are you accepting the Messiah and his revelation?
You didn't even address my question. I've answered that question already. Just answer mine. Do you think
that Jews
if
need?
you don't keep the Torah, you go to hell?
Well, that's why I asked a clarifying question. So if you, as an Orthodox Jew, don't think that you have to keep the law to be justified, and you can be justified by faith, that's why I asked the clarifying question. If you believe that, then why don't you accept the Messiah and what he taught? Because that's precisely how he shows us that is the truth, is through the life of Jesus, our Messiah.
Do you think do you think we believe in hell?
It depends on the sect of Judaism. Sheol.
Most of us don't.
Well, that's irrelevant. Do you think that everyone goes to heaven?
Totally relevant.
You think that
we're talking past each other because you're trying to sell me on salvation in the Christian
No.
sense, where there's a hell and a heaven, and we go to heaven or we go to hell.
No, not
and
exactly.
blah, blah, blah. Like that's not even close to what we believe in at all.
No, I'm not trying to sell you on heaven and hell. I'm trying to sell you on Jesus, who is the one who clarifies the law,
I know you're
and it was
trusting on
pointing
Jesus.
towards
You're
him.
utilizing hell as a tool to sell me on Jesus.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't even do it. I'm talking about
You keep talking about
justification.
salvation.
I'm talking about salvation, justification in the eyes of God, where He's going to remember our sins no more. The new covenant. Jesus Christ brought that new covenant. You just don't believe Him because you think that He did away with the law. He didn't do away with the law. He fulfilled the law so that we could be justified through faith in Him, our Messiah. That's why He's the Savior.
I get that. I know. I just don't think you're understanding why we are rejecting this.
You already told me
everything you're
several
saying is
times.
more reason to reject it.
You already
Because-
told me several times, dude. You think that Jesus taught people to not keep the law.
I know I told you. I don't think you get it. He literally did. And Paul does more explicitly.
He made it
And
stricter.
You even told me that you don't.
He made it
You even-
stricter.
No, he didn't.
He made it
strict. Lenient.
What
He made it
in regard?
lenient. You don't have to keep the Sabbath anymore, bro. What are you talking
No,
about?
I keep the Sabbath. It's just He's expanded my understanding of what that means. It points to Him, our Messiah, because we rest in Him
Okay,
from the
so-
works
but
of the
you
law.
don't keep the Sabbath. Okay, let's just be objective here. You're not keeping the Sabbath according to the Torah. You're not keeping kosher according to the Torah. You're not keeping any of the feasts and festivals according to the Torah. You're not keeping any of the
But you have no idea about
ritualistic
what I keep and don't keep.
laws in the Torah, right?
No, you have
that
no
means
idea.
You believe that Jesus did away with essentially all
No.
of those things.
Nope.
That's what I mean by you're
That's
not
not what
doing
Christians
it. I
teach.
understand you've redefined the Sabbath, and that's fine.
That's not what Christianity teaches, brother. We just have an expanded viewpoint on what that all means. It's literally pointing towards Jesus. That's what it's not justification through keeping the law.
If
It's justification. What's going on, nobody? I'm a big fan,
if it's
brother.
expanded, then why aren't you doing it?
Yeah, the issue is that we differ on what you think that means as far as the advent that occurred now. We accuse you of being stuck in an old advent, and we're saying that even your Torah foretells of this new advent that we're in currently. For example, you said that we don't keep kosher. Did Noah keep kosher?
Noah didn't have the Torah.
Did he keep kosher? That's what I'm asking.
Noah didn't have the Torah, so no, he did not.
Right. So he didn't keep kosher. However, comma, what was free to him in that advent was all food, because it was a what? New thing,
Correct.
that a new creation. The same instance is the case for us. We are not under the Mosaic law, or we're not under that Mosaic covenant. We're under the Melchizedekian covenant, the Melchizedekian priesthood. So what's free to us is not the same under the advent that you have. So you're just simply miscategorizing what we have, and which is showing face to the misunderstanding of your own scriptures yourself. We reflect the new creation that happens in Christ that's foreshadowed in Noah. So we don't have to keep kosher in the manner in which you do. However, same thing with the Sabbath. What we do keep under this Melchizedekian priesthood is the Sabbath that is the rest in the Messiah. That is the ordinance under this new advent in this new priesthood. That's foretold about in the Tanakh. So
no more Sabbath?
Did I say no more Sabbath, or did I say that every day is our Sabbath?
Is that when I say no more Sabbath, I'm talking about no more Saturday being the Shabbat where we're not supposed to work.
We don't keep Israel's Sabbath. We keep God.
So I'm not saying, I want to be clear, right? I'm not saying that you need to keep the Mosaic law. Okay, that's not what I'm saying.
That's literally what you're saying. You said
no, it's not. You just came into the conversation.
You said that's.
There is a big piece of context that you're missing.
The entire conversation from the outside.
Okay, well then you didn't hear this part. You didn't hear this part then. The part that you're not going to let me say anything. You're not going to let me.
Hold on.
You interrupted me, sir. So you said that you can't, everything that we were talking about.
Can you just listen?
What you've been saying is everything that we've been saying about Jesus is that it's rejecting Torah. You said everything. Paul says you don't even give law anymore. We reject that. That's why we don't follow Muslims. They reject Torah. I understand. I heard the conversation. I know the context.
Wonderful.
The issue is that with Torah and Tanakh, you are misunderstanding the time and advent that we're in now. So when you accuse us of not keeping Sabbath, we say you misunderstand what the Sabbath is. We keep Sabbath. We don't keep Israel's Sabbath. You can't say that you're not saying that you're not trying to say that we need to keep the Mosaic law when everything that you're referring to is under the Mosaic law. The Sabbath that you're referring to is under the Mosaic law. The kosher that you're referring to is under the Mosaic law. So you can't open your mouth in disingenuousness and say that you're not saying we need to be under Mosaic law when everything.
Can I give you a clarifying point so you can better understand my argument?
Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. You totally missed this because I did say this earlier. The reason why we as Jews reject it, and I even said, you don't have to keep the law. I even said that before. You probably missed that. I said, you don't have to keep the law. That's fine. But as Jews, because we are attached to the law, right? We accepted the Torah. We need to keep the Torah. That's the agreement that we have, right, with God. So as a Jew, why I don't convert to Christianity, I'm not saying you have to. What I'm saying is if I were to convert to Christianity, then those are no longer applicable to me, meaning I no longer have to keep kosher. I no longer have to keep the Sabbath on Saturday and do work. I no longer have to do all the ritualistic stuff. I no longer have to keep Passover or any of the holidays or any of the laws, right? Except for the morality laws that are, thou shalt not unalive, whatever. That's fine. That's great.
Well, you don't keep all of them anyway. Like right now, you don't keep all of the Levitical laws and the Mosaic laws right now.
I'm not a Levite, so I can't keep the Levitical laws.
Well, like I'm saying you don't even none of the actual 613 laws. Like you don't keep all of them.
Yeah, where's your sacrifice?
No one physically can because not everyone
Amen.
is a woman and a man who is a farmer and a business owner and lives in the land of Israel and also. Right. Exactly. Is all these things because obviously there are prerequisites to the law.
That's why there's a new.
So I'm not talking. I don't think you understand what I just said. There are prerequisites to law. I'm not a woman. There are certain laws that only apply to women.
Yeah. But I'm saying there are.
So I'm not keeping 613 mitzvot.
But I'm saying there are laws that all the laws that will pertain to you that should be applicable to you. You don't keep all of them because you don't have.
Which one?
To do it. For some of the sacrificial laws.
Yeah, so that's not applicable to me.
It would be the only reason
if
why
there was a temple.
Exactly. But the point of why you don't have a temple shows the end of a covenant, and that's even in your Talmud, Yama 39 A and B. It shows the reason why you lost the temple the second time was due to wanton hatred, but that wanton hatred was because of due to the Messiah,
The first part the Talmud says, the last part you said, not the Talmud. So
I'm filling that with our scriptures. Wanton hatred is hatred without cause. In our scriptures, that's before the Bible that says that they hated me.
Hatred without cause. And what's the context of that? What was the hatred without cause?
That's true. The hatred was toward God unwarranted, and but the Messiah, according to the Tanakh, is God. So that's the whole point.
No, we don't believe that.
You want me to prove it with the Tanakh?
I already know the verses you're probably going to bring up, and I'm just going to tell you we have a completely different understanding of these.
What verse am I going to bring up?
Probably Daniel. I believe it's Daniel 9. No, which one?
So you don't know what I'm going to say? Okay.
Well, there's a few of them that Christians always bring up.
Which ones? Let's go through them. Let's see if any of those ones.
Tell me. Which one do you want to go to first?
Well, you said you already know. Daniel's not one. What's the next one you thought I was going to bring up?
I believe there's Isaiah, and Isaiah. You're not going to say Isaiah 9:6, where it says "Mighty God."
I wasn't going to say Isaiah 9:6. No.
Okay, well that's one they bring up a lot.
So what's the next one you think I'm going to bring up?
Sorry.
What's the next one that you think I'm going to bring up?
A lot of times they bring up Genesis 1. A lot of times they bring in the verse regarding the three angels that came to Abraham.
Wasn't going to bring up Genesis at all.
So which ones, dude? Just I don't want to play this stupid game with you. Just which ones?
Okay, let's just make sure that you don't actually know. So okay, cool. So if you go to Psalm chapter 82, verse 8, it says, "Clearly, arise, O God, judge the earth, for it is you who inherit the nation." It says that.
Hold on, let me go there real quick. Psalm, you said 82?
Verse 8, yeah.
Okay, hold on one second.
That's a new one. That's good. That's good. We're learning.
For all nations are your possession. Okay.
So your rendition might say all nations are your possession. That's fine. Mine says, "Arise, O God, judge the earth, for it is you who will inherit the nation." But we can affirm that that's about God, right? The Most High God, Hashem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now go to Psalm chapter 2, where it's about the Messiah or the anointed. Psalm chapter 2, we can start at verse 1. It says, "Why do the nations rage? And the peoples meditate on vain things. The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take their counsel together against Yahweh and against his Messiah. Hashem and against his Messiah. Let us tear the brothers apart and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens laughs, the Lord mocks them. He who speaks to them in his anger and terrifies them in his fury, saying, But as for me, my king upon Zion, my holy mountain, I will surely tell you the decree of Hashem. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will surely give you the nations as your inheritance, and the ends of the earth as your possession. Now, it clearly states in Psalm 82 that Hashem is the one that inherits the nation, and the earth is his possession. But now it's saying this about the Messiah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is God.
So I totally understand why you would think that. It makes sense from your belief, especially if you're a Christian. Form of agency. So we believe that when the Mashiach and is king, he is going to be king over the entire earth, but God is king over the entire earth too. The Mashiach is going to be a representative of God, not God himself. Just like Moses was a representative of God, not God himself. Yet Moses was also called God. Moses was also doing miracles and doing a lot of things. Now, did he do that himself? No. God did those miracles through Moses. We still attribute God with all of the credit that Moses did, right? Because God's the one who put it all together.
Now watch this. Is God going to inherit something?
Inherit something?
So Psalm 82:8 says that God inherits all of the nations.
I mean, is that what it says in Hebrew? I don't know. Let me see. So let me go back to it. If that word is very important, we should see if what it says in Hebrew.
Yeah.
It's
nahal. To get out of his possession, acquire, inherit possession.
Let me pull it up here. So it's 82. What was it again?
Verse 8.
Verse 8. Gotcha. Thank you.
Nahal.
It's Nahal. Okay.
Inherit.
It could mean to inherit. Yeah, it could mean that. Or to occupy. Right. Yeah.
So God's
to like possess.
So God's going to inherit all the nations, right?
Yeah, through the Messiah.
So if you inherit something, that means somebody's going to give it to you because you're inheriting it, right?
Through the Messiah.
So the Messiah is going to give God all the nations that he already has?
Well, in a way, yeah, because when the Messiah comes, the entire world's going to know who God is. The entire world is going to worship God. So all of the nations are going to actually become children of Hashem completely, in the sense of having a full relationship with him, because now they're going to actually know who God is, including people in remote villages, you know what I mean? So that's what it means. Well, I am answering your question. I don't think you were just accepting the answer. That's what it means by inherent. That's what it means by possessing these nations, is going to be that they actually end up worshiping him. This happens when the Mashiach comes. Yeah. So again, right? If it's God who's the one that's going to both judge the earth and inherit the nations, but the Mashiach is said to be the one that inherits the nations and be given the possession of all the earth. It's no longer agency. Right? That's not agency anymore. Here's why it's not. Because the antitype is being prototype now under your worldview. If God is the one that actually possesses the nation, right? And you're claiming that's agency through the Messiah,
but the Messiah is the one that's actually given the nations and given the inheritance, then you've made the Messiah the actual antitype and God or Hashem, the Father, to be the prototype. That's backwards. Now, I don't necessarily deny an agency. However, our metaphysics are different. I believe because the Messiah is consubstantial with the Father, being begotten from the Father, he, with the Father, inherits all possession of all the nations from the Father. Because he is God in the flesh, as the Tanakh.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think we're reading this very differently, and that's why I don't believe that the Messiah himself is going to be God in the flesh. But
do you believe Isaiah 53 isn't a messianic prophecy like the rest of the rabbis, or do you hold to something different?
I believe it is a messianic prophecy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you understand that the Messiah in Isaiah 53 is called the arm of Yahweh, right?
So I don't believe it's talking about the Messiah, but I think it's talking about the messianic age.
Okay, if it's a messianic prophecy, servant prophecies, messianic are about the Messiah.
Not all the time, no. In this case, it's about Israel. So like the nation of Israel being redeemed.
So
the
even in the context.
I mean, I'd love for you to let me actually say something. So sorry.
Go ahead, finish.
So it's about Israel's suffering and then redemption. And no, not all the time is a messianic prophecy going to be about the Messiah himself, but it could be about just the age in general, what's going to happen at this time, right? And we believe Isaiah 53 is talking about when the nation of Israel is essentially redeemed, and the entire world, the nations, it starts with the nation speaking, saying, who could believe our reports? That the arm of the Lord has revealed, and when we look at the context in the previous verses, or the previous chapters, I should say, it's always Israel being the servants. And Isaiah 53 exclusively, yeah, I can totally 100% understand why a Christian can look at Isaiah 53 exclusively and say, yeah, this is definitely about Jesus, especially in your translation. I totally understand that. The reason why we disagree is because of the context in the previous chapters, and because, honestly, in my view, it's pretty clear that this is talking about the nation of Israel being redeemed in the Messianic age, when the Mashiach comes.
I tell you that this is not about Israel, and it can't be about Israel logically and scripturally, because one, there's a distinction being made between the servant Israel and the nation of Israel in Isaiah 49. And then two, the prophecies that's being spoken about in Isaiah 53 can't even fit Israel itself as a nation because they don't meet that criteria. What then are you going to do?
Which criteria specifically?
For example, right, it says that there's no deceit in their mouth, that they had done no violence. That's just, that right there is completely false. There's for sure deceit in Israel's mouth. And you can't say it's about the righteous remnant, because I'm sure you would say that Isaiah himself is a part of the righteous remnant and being a prophet of the Lord. Right? And even Isaiah himself says that he's a man of unclean lips and people of unclean lips. So you quite literally cannot say that this is about the nation of Israel. Coupled with the fact that Isaiah 49 says that the servant Israel is being distinguished from the tribes of Jacob and the preserved ones of Israel. So there goes the tribes as the nation itself, and the mighty remnant, which is our preserved.
So, you're absolutely correct about the distinction. The distinction between Jacob and Israel. Jacob is pretty much all of Israel, and then Israel is the remnant of the righteous remnant, which is what you said earlier.
You weren't hearing me. So in Isaiah 49, it gives
I did hear you. I know what you said. I'm disagreeing with you.
It gives a distinction between both the tribes of Jacob and the preserved ones of Israel, because just in case you said, and you stated it, the righteous remnant is actually the thing that's being spoken of. No, the preserved ones of Israel are the righteous remnant, because Yahweh says he's going to preserve his righteous remnant. So that's what that's referring to. So there's three categories here: the individual, the servant Messiah, Israel, the tribes of Jacob, which is the nation itself, and then the preserved ones will be the righteous remnant.
So I understand what you mean. I believe that Isaiah 53 is about the righteous remnant. But if you're going to say that they can't qualify for that reason, I mean, did Jesus have children in your belief?
Yeah, we are his children.
Physical children I'm talking about.
Yeah, we don't interpret
No,
physical children. There's nothing in the syntax that indicates that it has to be physical children. Do you think that a soul is given, like, that a soul is a literal guilt offering on an altar? Like what are we talking about?
No. So the word in Hebrew being used here, is I'm pretty sure. I can double check. And can you find any instance where Zah is used for not physical children? It means seed. He will see his seed.
Yeah. So again, right? For example, right? Where is it? Yeah, Zera can be used for like moral qualities, right? A practitioner of righteousness. Like it can be used in a figurative manner. You can go to any definition and see that. Right? So those that are in Christ are be saved because we reflect who we are. We are literally conformed to the image. We are fellow practitioners of righteousness with him. He justifies us. In
which context is he using that way?
Yeah, I'll just show you. Give me a second. Give an example. Get gas.
Gonna have to go in a minute. I gotta meet up with some friends.
Yeah, no problem. I'll go to Bible Hub right now. Second. It's on screen 10. Okay, so there is a few instances. So let me just read some. Give me a second. So when it's used in the figurative, you go to I'm scrolling it up. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so in Isaiah, so seed marked as by moral quality of persons, right? Isaiah 65:23, Isaiah 61:9, Isaiah 65 and 9, Proverbs 11:21, Jeremiah 2:21.
Let's do one at a time.
Yeah,
Isaiah 65.
Yeah, let's do Isaiah 65:23 first. Okay. So it says, they will not labor in vain, nor bear for terror, for they are the seed of those blessed by Yahweh, and their offspring with them. Right. So it's still their moral quality in that manner.
Yeah, but it's still yeah, I agree. It's about moral quality, but it's talking about physical children still.
Do you know the context of this?
Do you want to read it? I'm pretty sure it's talking about the offspring of Jacob.
Yeah, so it says, for behold, I am creating a new heavens and new earth. The former things will not be remembered or come upon the heart. This, by the way, this is our point with the whole new covenant. The former things will not be remembered, but that's besides the point. But be joyful, rejoice forever for in what I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem for rejoicing, and her people for joy. I will also rejoice in Jerusalem and be joyful for my people. There will no longer be heard in her the voice of the weeping or the voice of the crying. No longer will there be in it an infant who lives for a few days, or an old man who does not fulfill his days. For the youth will die at an age of 100, and the one who does not reach the age of 100 will be thought of accursed. They will build houses and inhabit them. They will also plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They will not build another inhabitant. They will not plant and another eat. For as the lifetime of a tree, it will be the days of my people. My chosen ones will walk my chosen ones will wear the work of their hands and will not labor in vain or bear children for terror. For they are the seed of those blessed by Yahweh, and their offspring with them. right? So it's clearly talking about them being in union and equality with God, not that they're just bearing descendancy from Abraham. It doesn't indicate that at all in the context, because we know based off of what 9 chapters previously, Isaiah 56. Where God's house or the salvation is coming for the foreigner. God's house is a house of prayer for all people, not just those that are descended from Abraham. So all those who join themselves to Yahweh. So this can't be talking about physical. So this can't be. So the continuation context can't be talking about physical descendancy, but it's simply that they're the seed that are of the moral quality. So in Isaiah 53, just to get back on track, Isaiah 53, when it says,
hold on. But you didn't even let me address 65, bro.
I thought you asked me to show you an example and bring it back. That's all I was doing, bro. You don't have to.
Yeah, but let's address 65 here, because the context that you read was only from verse 17. You didn't even read the beginning of the chapter.
I mean,
like you're not reading context. Even in verse 9, it says, I will bring forth offspring from Jacob. It's talking specifically about the offspring of Jacob. Now, yes, that is true that everyone is welcome to the house of Israel, and everyone can have a relationship with Hashem. We do not disagree with that at all. But there are times where it's explicitly talking about the children of Israel, and there are times where it's talking about all of the nations, everyone, including the children of Israel. So in this case, this is talking about, I will bring forth offspring from Jacob. That's verse 9, the verse you did not read. That was also something that you mentioned earlier. Sorry?
Read verse 1.
I spoke to those who did not ask. I was at a hand to those who did not seek me. I said, here I am, here I am. To a nation that did not invoke my name. I constantly spread out my hands to disloyal people who walk the way that is not good, following their own designs. The people who provoke my anger, who continually to my very face sacrifice in gardens and burn incense on tiles, who sit inside tombs and pass the night in secret places, who eat the flesh of swine with broth of unclean things in their bowels, who say, keep your distance, don't come closer, for I would render you consecrated. Such things make my anger rage like a fire blazing all day long. See, this is recorded before me. I will not stand idly by, but will repay, deliver their sins into their bosom, and the sins of their ancestors as well, said God. For they made offspring upon the mountains and affronted me upon the hills. I will count out their recompense in full into their bosoms. Thus said God, as when a new wine is present in the cluster, one says, don't destroy it, there is good in it. So I will do the sake of my servants and not destroy everything. I will bring forth offspring from Jacob. From Judah heirs my mountains. My chosen one shall take possession. My servants shall dwell thereon. That's the context. So it's talking about people who don't follow God and then people who do follow God. And the people who follow God seem to be offspring from Jacob, from Judah.
Yeah, so it says a seed, right? You can go to your Hebrew and show that seed, and it's in a singular there. It says a seed or a seed from the Jacob. It's not in the plural. But regardless, you see the full context starting from verse 1. It's literally talking about the moral quality of people, not talking about the physical descendancy. Jacob, as we see, Jacob, just like Egypt, just like Edom, can be representative of a moral quality. For instance, Egypt can be considered as representing bondage, right? or Esau or rebellion or neglect, right? So just because you see Jacob, it's not always obligated physical descendancy. That's the whole point. And that's this literally the totality of the context. The totality of the context clearly is showing the contrast between wicked people and righteous people. That's literally the moral context of what's being said.
For sure. I mean, I agree with you. They're talking about morality here. I 100% agree with you, but I still believe at the same time it's talking about a physical seed. I don't think that.
How can I be talking about a physical seed if the full context if the full context is talking about how people themselves are? Right? It is, I will bring forth a seed from Jacob and a possessor of my mountain from Judah, and even my chosen one shall possess it, and my slaves will dwell there. Sharon will pasture the land for flocks, and the valley of Achor a resting place for herds. For my people who seek me, for my people who But you who forsake Yahweh, you who forget my holy mountain, who set a table for fortune, who fill cups with mixed wine for destiny, I will destine you for the sword, and all of you will bow down to the slaughter. Right? Mm-hmm. This is clearly talking about a dispensancy, not physically descended from. If those who
I agree.
So I don't understand why you're saying that seed.
I agree. I don't think it's mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
I don't think it's mutually exclusive. What I'm saying is that the seed will go on and have that righteous remnant of Israel that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's not saying that here because that's not even the context. That's the whole point.
It is the context. It's talking about everyone, but it's talking about a faithful remnant. I mean, listen, we're just gonna see this differently, I guess.
But wait, is everyone descended from Jacob?
No.
All right, then. So then it can't be what you're saying because not everyone is descended from Jacob. But it's still after the previous 9 chapters I've talked about who God sees as actual Jacob, those who those who join themselves to him. Like that's the whole point. So seed here,
right.
So we can get back to 53. Seed is not always used in the physical descendancy sense, and our interpretation is that the seed of the Messiah are the qualitative righteous practitioners who align themselves with God or Christ, same thing. So that's the whole point. That's his seed prolonged. Those who believe in him will have everlasting life. The whole gospel.
I understand your point. I just disagree with the premise. Like it's because to me, like I said in 65, I still think it's talking about a physical seed, actual physical descendants in the context. But yes, it's also talking about morality of that seed, of those people. But that's fine. We're gonna see it differently. Listen, I gotta go. It was a great conversation.
To substantiate that with the actual immediate context.
I think you just don't like my answer. I think everything I said, you just don't like my answer. That's fine. I mean, like, listen, I don't agree with most of the stuff you say, but I still say, yeah, I understand how you get that. I understand. This is why I disagree. But you just want to essentially say that I'm like a liar or dumb or something.
I just don't think you're able to substantiate.
Well, I did. You just didn't really like the answer. But
it was not informative. You said words, you said a response, and you said what you think. But I don't think that it was actually informative of and indicative of the actual context that actually proved the substantiation or grounded the substantiation. Whereas for me, it does literally with the context. I said seed here is used clearly for a moral quality, and the context substantiates that. Your assertion was that seed in Isaiah 65 was talking about a physical descendancy, but the context doesn't substantiate that. That's what I'm saying. If you could have shown that, then cool. But I know you said you had to go. But you know.
Yeah, I mean 65.9 I think proves that. But yeah, I mean we'll talk soon. I'll follow you, man. I'd love to talk again in the future. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for the respectful conversation.
I try to be as respectful as possible, dude. I try to have a full, real conversation. I don't want to, I said this earlier. I don't know if you're hearing. I love Christian people. I think you guys have brought so much positivity to the world. I do not hate you guys. I do not hate Jesus either, by the way. So I don't, don't come at me like a debate bro. I'm having a discussion. I want to converse with you. I don't want to debate you. Okay?
Right on, brother.
I appreciate
the conversation. Yep. God bless you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for hopping up, nobody. What was that? Forget your actual name. I forgot. I've seen your lives, bro. You do good work, man.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I was scrolling by. I seen them talking and come up with stuff a little bit. You were doing fine. Like you didn't need my help, but.
No, yeah, you could bring the scriptures more specifically than I could. I appreciate that. I don't have them loaded up in my brain like you do.
For sure.
So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you having me up. I'm gonna let you get back to it.
Yeah, you got it. God bless. We're gonna bring up D. Smith. I think Maisie was up next. I don't know if they stuck around for the conversation. They might be gone. Looks like Maisie's gone. We're gonna try D. Smith. If D. Smith's not here, I gotta run to the restroom. So. Sup, Smith?
Yes, hi, I'm here still. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good.
Good.
Actually, just woken up, just had breakfast in my parts of the world.
Yeah,
I don't know
across
yours. Don't know
across
where
the
you are.
pond.
I assume America.
Yep. You're
Yeah.
England?
Okay. Anyway, what the point I would like to make is that you say in this text in the screen that God loves human beings.
Hmm?
Well, I question that, and if you let me, I'll tell you why.
You understand
There's
the
lots of examples.
well. First of all, do you understand why I think it?
And my point I was going to make is that I don't think the gospel proves that.
Okay.
But you don't want to know my
Right.
point of view, do you?
No, you can go ahead. I just wanted to know if you understood why I would say that. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think everybody would assume that you would try to provide evidence that God loves human beings because you've made that claim. And I'm making the claim that God doesn't love human beings. So I'll explain why. Now, let me start. Let's imagine I'm the principal of a school. I have cameras everywhere, so I see everything that goes on, right? Like God. Absolutely everything. Every day, every minute of the day during at school. I see teachers abusing children. Okay? And I do nothing. Okay? Am I partly responsible for that child abuse if I do nothing as the head of a school?
Yep.
Right. God is all knowing and all sees everything that goes on, past, present, and future.
Mm.
Everything, every minutiae of everybody's life. So God has watched millions of children being abused and done nothing.
What
Is
makes you think
God
he's done
not
nothing?
partly responsible for that?
Yeah. So that any analogy
Can you
that
explain why a principal is partly responsible and God isn't?
yeah any analogy that you bring up comparing God to a world, it's going to fall short. It just always does. So you got to understand the entirety of the biblical context and what's actually occurring on this in this environment where God is allowing for this to be carried out and why He's allowing for this to be carried out. Do you know the biblical context for why He's allowing these things to be carried out, like the abuse of children?
Talk about free will. We're talking about free will.
It's the ultimate salvation of humanity is the reason why He's ultimately saving people eternally, and that's why he's delaying the day of judgment. Because if He were to judge, let's say right now or before Christ even was crucified and made the atonement for all humans to be reconciled back to God in perfection in heaven, then there would be absolutely no one in heaven. So there is a reason, and it's a justified reason for why He's delaying that day of judgment in the biblical context.
So Jesus has been sacrificed.
Yes.
So God could make the judgment now. Because you said the reason God doesn't make judgment because
Yes.
it was before Jesus was sacrificed.
No,
So
I
Jesus
didn't. No,
has been sacrificed
no, that's a
already.
straw.
And it's happening now.
No, that's a straw man. So I said there's a reason that
Who
God
said
is.
that?
No, you heard me wrong. You're straw manning me. So I said that there's a reason that God didn't bring the day of judgment now or even before. And I went on to say even before Christ's crucifixion and His atonement for sin, and it's for the ultimate salvation of humanity. The biblical narrative is that there would be less souls saved, and He's delaying that day of judgment for the sake of the people who will be saved. So that has not come to its fruition yet because He wants more souls to be saved eternally. So there is a justification for
So
that.
God doesn't. Are you saying God doesn't judge us now?
No, God
He
is.
waits to judge us.
I'm talking about salvific judgment as far as like eternal placement. Like He judges us,
I'm
but it's
talking
like
about practical.
it's a matter of you can take His judgment seriously.
Is God partly responsible like the head of the school? If He does
No,
nothing.
not like the head of a school, because it's not a school environment that's going on. It's a free will environment in which God is delaying the day of judgment for the salvation of souls.
And that's power.
Yeah, but it's not
So your head of the school
synonymous.
has power.
But like I said, it's not synonymous.
People do. I can judge people.
Yeah, so it's not synonymous. It's not a one-to-one. It's not a one-to-one
Does not judge
comparison.
people.
If it were like a school, then He would be unjustified. But there's an environment in this world right now that He is justified because He's delaying that day so that more people will be saved. And because He cares about those people and He doesn't want them to fall into judgment and unbelief, He's delaying that day so that the belief in him can expand and reach all nations, and then the judgment will come. Because he wants all people to
So are you
live
saying
eternally.
that God loves human beings because God
Yes.
just watches children being abused and does nothing?
Where did I say that at all? What's my position? Do you know my? Can you steel man my
No,
position?
I'm asking you.
Can you?
I asked a question. I asked a question.
Yeah, it was a stupid question. That's not. No, that's obviously not what I'm professing here at all.
Answer the question. You're saying God doesn't judge.
Huh? No, I
Yes.
didn't say God doesn't judge. I never once said that either. Why are you straw manning me so
God
much?
does nothing.
You're
God
gonna.
does nothing.
There's gonna be
Now
no.
tell me, does God do anything?
Yes, God can love you if
Does
you're
God
gay.
do
HR.
anything? God watches child abuse and does nothing. Am I correct?
No, he doesn't do nothing.
What does he do then?
He provides comfort through his Holy Spirit as well as ultimate eternal life for the innocent.
So you agree, God watches and does nothing. He just comforts.
No, I
suffering.
literally disagreed with you, and I gave my justification for that, for why I don't take that stance.
Yes or no?
And you're literally
Yes.
just you're gonna run out of.
God
There's
do?
not gonna be enough straw for the horses and the barnyard animals
Okay.
to sleep on. They're not gonna
People
have
can
good.
hear what you're saying, and you're not answering the question.
They're not gonna.
You
I
refuse
answered
to.
you very directly
let's try
2
another one.
times. You're
Let's
gonna have
try
to.
another one.
You're gonna have to face the wrath now.
I asked what God does, and you refuse to answer.
What did I say?
You're using
I did answer you very
You said
directly.
gives comfort. You said gives comfort.
That was one. That was
And
one.
I said that
Through his
means
Holy
God
Spirit.
does nothing.
Through his Holy Spirit.
Correct.
2.
So God gives comfort.
What's another
after
one?
The abuse. Yes
What's
or
another
no?
one?
After the abuse,
What's another
does
one?
God give comfort?
What's
Yes or no?
the what's the
Is that
other
what God said?
what's the other justification I give? Because God mourns at their suffering. He doesn't want them to go through that, but he's delaying the day. He doesn't
The
snap
head
people
can
out of
mourn
existence.
suffering.
Huh?
The head can mourn the suffering of child abuse and do nothing. That still means the head is partly responsible for that child abuse.
No, I didn't say
So
he
do you
does
actually
nothing.
understand the Christian position about how God has defeated evil already?
So there's no evil, no child abuse happening because
No,
God.
Oh, that's
I
a
asked
good-
you if
good
you
point.
understand the Christian position on that.
I'm asking a specific thing about.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're asking, but I'm trying to
So
clarify
you're trying to
something with
avoid
you.
it by
No,
deflecting to another
No,
topic.
D. Smith, I
No, I'm
answered you
absolutely
directly.
not. I'm 100%. I am 100% on topic. So my question to you is: do you Yeah, I can't answer the question. Can you shut the fuck up? So do you understand the Christian paradigm for how God defeats evil? Yes. Because if you're doing an internal critique, you need to represent us correctly. So yes or no. Do you understand the Christian paradigm for how God defeats evil? Bueller?
I don't know if he knows how to.
He's probably still talking and doesn't even know he's muted.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows how to unmute his
What does
mic.
God do when children are being abused?
So do you understand the Christian
You see,
paradigm?
you're deflecting.
You're doing
No,
a-
you've been talking
Smith,
this whole time and you never actually listened to anything I just said.
Smith, you're doing an
You didn't listen
internal
to anything
critique.
that just came out of my face. Shut up. Shut up, D. Smith. You didn't just listen. You didn't listen to anything that just came out of my face. I asked you a very simple question. Be a big man. Be a big boy. It's a very simple question.
Smith, you're
Do
doing an
you
internal critique.
understand? I'm trying to.
Oh my
You won't shut
days.
the fuck up.
You're
Do
doing
you understand the Christian paradigm for how God has already defeated evil? He's already done it. Do you understand that from our paradigm? Or are you doing an internal critique and not actually representing us?
What's that got to do with child abuse?
I'll show you. Answer the question. Do you understand the Christian paradigm?
I'm listening. Just tell me, explain.
Do you
So
know-
do you understand the Christian paradigm?
I'm not
The
answering
answer is no.
questions as you're not.
Great.
Just
So you don't
oh my
understand
goodness.
the Christian paradigm. I got you. I
No.
would love to explain it. Be quiet. So the Christian paradigm is that God does not operate temporally. So the creation of the universe and the completion of the end of all things was already declared in one moment. God's already done it. We are temporal. We are experiencing it. He has already defeated the evil. So if you're saying that Christians don't believe that he has defeated evil, you're not representing our position correctly, which is why I asked you, do you understand the Christian position for how God has already defeated evil? Because if you don't, you're inaccurately representing us while trying to do an internal critique.
How does that link to God just watching?
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Can you tell me?
Are you okay right now?
She just told
Are you
you.
present in the room with us? What's
You
2
want
plus
to-
2? What's 2 plus
What
2?
has that got to do with child
What's 2 plus 2?
abuse? God will take
Did
child
you-
I want to
abuse.
make
can
sure
you
you're
steal-
listening. What's 2 plus 2?
You see it deflecting again.
Can you steel
I
man
want to
what
make
she
sure you're
said?
listening. What is 2 plus
I
2?
heard you. What does that link back to God just
Great.
watching?
So
child
what is
abuse?
2 plus 2?
Tell me, what has that got to do with God just watching child abuse and doing nothing?
We already answered that. Let's make sure you're listening. What's 2 plus 2?
What does God do? Answer the I've asked the question.
We've
already
answered you
it. What's 2
twice.
plus 2?
No, you haven't answered it. All you
We
give
have.
me is
What's 2 plus
paradigm
2?
of your belief in God. Tell me what God does.
So
You
you
are-
2 plus 2. That's unfortunate.
What does God do?
So you weren't listening because we
What
already
does
answered.
God do?
You weren't listening to a thing that
Link
came out of my
your
face.
paradigm to God.
You came up here with your fancy accent and you didn't care to listen to anything that came out of anybody's face.
Do you understand English?
What's 2 plus 2? You still haven't answered that. I'm not answering any of your questions till you answer just one. You haven't answered a
You
single
know,
question.
Christians do this all the time. They avoid, deflect, ignore.
We answered you directly,
And
bro,
so
twice. And
You know
you
what atheists do? Atheists like to go and cherry pick. What atheists like to do is they like to borrow from our morality and from our God and then cherry pick our Bible and then not actually represent our paradigm so that they can cry like a bunch of babies. So instead of being a crybaby atheist, stand up, answer the
No,
question.
we're on topic.
Do you understand the Christian paradigm for how God defeated evil?
You explained
yes or no?
it, and you still didn't link it to why God or.
Are you
does
fucking
God
okay?
watch children
Are you
abused?
serious?
Yes, I'm serious. You
There's
link
no way.
it, please, openly and honestly, to that
Okay, so
situation.
I'll link it. I'll say it super slow. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. God already did it. He already defeated all of the evil. He already did it. He has already defeated the evil. So what you're not accurately representing. So are you going to keep talking, or are you just going to ask me to answer a question so you can run your mouth? I just did. Shut up. I just did. I just answered it for you, but you're.
Tell me, it does child abuse still go on, even though God's defeated evil?
Do you know what 2 plus 2 is?
Tell me.
Do you?
Answer the
My
question.
6-year-old just told me. Do you know what 2 plus 2 is?
Why does child abuse still go on if God has defeated evil?
So you don't know 2 plus 2. That's fine. I get it.
Answer the question. Stop deflecting.
Answer the questions. You're deflecting, and you're avoiding the subject. I've already given you the answer to your question.
No, you haven't.
Can you actually?
Yes, I have.
Can you actually
I absolutely
respond?
have. There are 10 people in
Why
this
does
room
child
who
abuse
witnessed
still go on
it.
if God has defeated evil?
So do you know what 2 plus 2 is? Do you just want to continue going back and forth asking the same question over and over?
He's going childish now.
I'm very childish. I'm very childish.
Smith, I think
But
it's.
being so childish, I can answer a question.
I think it's childish how you keep on
Answer my
asking
question. Why
the.
can't you answer my
So
question?
We've
answer a question. What's
Can you
2 plus 2?
respond to our response to your question? Can you respond to our response to your question?
Oh, you're going to answer it. He wouldn't.
Yeah, we already answered. God exists outside of the temporal realm of suffering, in which it's already defeated in the eternal realm. God is above creation, brother, and what he's done is in that not. So no,
it's part of God's plan.
No, it's actually Satan's plan, which is why it's ultimately going to be destroyed, and that means every single existence of evil is ultimately going to be wiped out. It's not even going to be remembered. That means evil is going to be redeemed.
You're temporal, then just cry about it, bro. But you are temporal, and you do have to experience things as a
What is
temporal.
God responsible for if Satan is responsible for what happened on Earth?
I'm glad you asked. He defeated evil. Thank you for asking.
He's responsible for the solution.
Because Satan is still committing evil. So God didn't defeat evil because
God did defeat evil. You're just a dumb temporal creature that has to experience time, and God doesn't.
So
You're a
Satan
dumb creature.
is one in the temporal world, and God is lost. Yes,
Yes, Satan is also a temporal creature.
So
yeah, Satan is also temporal.
So
Satan is also temporal. Are you okay? Satan is temporal, and Satan operates temporally, but God is not temporal. So that's a problem for you?
We have to bargain with Satan, not God, then.
So God is not temporal and Satan is.
So God
That's what you
has
just
no
said.
power
No,
here.
Smith.
So God is not temporal and Satan
God
is.
has no power then.
No, we have to
You
war
just said that
with him. We
you-
have to
are
war.
we on the same page right now?
We have to war with Satan
I'm
while
on
we're
the
in this
same page. You
temporal
said
realm,
God has nothing to do with the temporal
and
realm.
hopefully you won't
Satan
choose to
only
side with
Satan,
him.
So God has no point of being to him.
I don't think that his brain is loading. I'm going to be
No,
real with you, Chief.
you know
I
what?
don't think that there's anything going on between those
correct?
ears.
God has no power in the temporal world, only Satan. Yes or no?
God is the one who defeats
I don't know what else to say anymore.
and
at this
redeems
point. I'm
this
just gonna
world
let
from
that
all
answer
evil.
what to say.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's
We've already answered you.
We've answered him
We've
5
already
times, so it's
answered
just
you.
like,
You just don't care to hear an answer unless it's something that tickles your fucking ears, and we're tired of it. We're tired of it, honestly.
That's an obvious question.
Honestly.
Smith,
Obvious
I
question.
think that we
said
actually have an
Satan is
answer.
in control
Obvious
of the world.
answer. You don't have ears.
God has no power.
You
There's no
don't have
point appealing
ears.
to God. Is there? No point appealing to God if Satan is in control. You need to appeal to Satan then. Correct?
So did you want the answers to the questions? Because we already gave them, and you're just asking the same question, but in like a different way.
You've agreed with that. Then I'm correct. Satan is
That's
in
not what I
control.
said. I said, do you want the answer? Because you've just repeating the question in different ways doesn't mean that you've accepted or acknowledged our. We've answered you.
So
We have both answered you.
My understanding is that God has no power in the temporal world, and Satan is in control of the temporal world.
That's because you don't listen.
There is no point praying to
That's
God.
literally just because you don't listen. Have you tried cleaning out your ears?
Does God have any power in the temporal world? Yes or no?
Yes,
Smith.
absolutely. So now can you answer my question? Great. So answer my question. Pause. I answered your question, you silly little atheist. Pause. So no. So let's stop. Let's go ahead and acknowledge
Dude,
this. Since
stop
I
running
answered
your
your
mouth.
question, let's play a little game. Is God eternal? Does God operate eternally? Yes or no?
Well, according to your Bible, yes, God operates.
Yes,
eternally.
God operates eternally. So if God defeats evil, does he do that eternally?
Well, you said he hasn't.
That's
No,
not
we
what
said
I
he-
said.
we said
I
he
never
did.
said that.
You said Satan is in control.
No, I said
Dude,
we said that Satan is temporal. You thought that Satan was in control. We said Satan is temporal. So answer the question. If God operates outside of time, eternally, and he defeats evil, so did he? Yes, exactly. So
We've
the
got
Christian
answers
paradigm
to
is
the
that he
questions.
has already defeated it and that we are experiencing this temporally. So if you're going to pick apart the Christian paradigm, you need to be honest in your critique. You do not get to do an internal critique on Christianity and say, well, God didn't defeat evil because we see evil every day. God is eternal, you are temporal. No, you said that. You said that, you filthy little snake.
Satan is not in control then.
You said that. I agree. You said that.
There's no Satan.
I didn't say that. Oh my God.
There is
This
Satan.
guy, bro.
Is there or not? Satan or not?
Satan exists. Yes.
Right.
I never
So
said
who's
Satan was in
the temporal
control.
world? Who's in
I
control
never
of the
said
temporal
Satan was in control. God is in control. I never said Satan
world?
was
So
in
God's in
control.
control of the temporal world, yes?
Yes.
So God can choose to stop child abuse and does
Yes. And
Yeah.
let's just make sure that we're all
God's
circling. Wait, let's make sure that we're all circling back to the same point. Does God operate
He's not
eternally?
moral, then.
Please mute
Is he
him.
moral?
Does God operate eternally?
Not to stop
If
child
he
abuse.
operates eternally, then you still have yet to tackle the issue with the fact that it has already been defeated eternally, and that you, Satan, and everybody else like me and my mama are experiencing it because we are temporal.
And then you said God has the power to stop child abuse, but chooses not to.
no,
I
she
think
said
you
it,
don't have
he's
the
already
chromosomes
has.
necessary
He
for
has
this
the power.
conversation. I'm going to be so real.
Yeah,
You
no,
started off by saying he didn't have
it's
power
circle.
in the
It's
temporal,
circular.
and now
It's,
he's
we're
I
going.
never said that. That was never anything
Yeah,
came out of my face.
And so you agree, mate.
Never came out of my fucking
Oh, my
face.
days.
To stop child abuse, but chooses not to stop child abuse.
He's
No,
already,
he already
done
has.
it eternally, which is why you don't want to answer the
What
fact
about
that
the
if
temporal
God
world?
defeated evil, does he do it eternally? Yes
What
or no?
about the temporal
Yes
world?
or no?
Can
Does he
God
do it
choose to
eternally?
stop child
I've already
abuse
answered
in
your
the-
question. I've already answered your
No,
question, and then you
you haven't.
repeated it 20 times. I've already
You
answered your
don't
question.
change your
Shut up,
position.
shut up, shut up.
So
I've
God
already
is
answered your
not
question.
involved in
You
the
repeated
temporal
it 20
world.
times because you
Oh
didn't
my
like the
gosh.
answer. I've
No,
already
I
told
don't
you.
care about the
He
answer.
Then why are you here, you weirdo?
We've got
What
answers
the
to these
fuck?
questions. We've got
Why are
solutions
you
to
even
the
up
evil.
here? If you're going to come up here representing the Christian position, then represent it properly. If you don't care, then why do you need to lie about it? Why do you need to straw man it and misrepresent it if you don't care? You quite literally are. You just said that you don't care about the Christian position. So you do not mind that you're misrepresenting the Christian position. So you're lying. That's tough, bro. If I were an atheist, I would just be honest about what the scripture says and still just not believe. To lie about it is just fucking insane.
So here's the thing, guys.
Christians, they have to be dishonest.
Right.
Smith. Now you're resulting in insults. Just chill out. Let me say something.
I got you, bro. That's fine.
So Smith, chill out. Just stop asking the same questions we've answered 5 times. Smith, we have solutions to the evils in this world. In your paradigm, you've got nothing. All you've got is despair. Evil exists, and we can't do nothing about it. It's going to continue existing, and you have no solution ultimately to it. We've told you that we have got a solution to it. In fact, it's already been defeated. God eternally is good. He's going to wipe every tear according to the Bible. That means it's going to have redemption. People are going to look back, and it's not going to be a thing that's a problem or an issue. It's not going to exist anymore. It's not going to exist anymore because he's defeated it, and he throws it into the lake of fire. So we have a solution to the problem of evil. In your paradigm, you have no solution. Evil just exists, and you got to deal with it. We have the solution, and it's like you're mad that we have an answer to your question.
You have no solution. You don't do anything about it.
No, the solution is there. It's just whether you get on God's side in order to experience that solution or not, or if you perish with the rest of the evils. It's whether or not you choose to get on board with the solution or not, or you perish with the rest of the evils.
What's the solution then?
It's ultimate redemption from
child abuse.
It's the ultimate redemption of all the evils in this world, in which we'll remember sin no more.
And chooses not to do it.
No, God doesn't exist temporally. God's already defeated it. We've told you this 5 times. God exists outside of the temporal realm. God exists.
By the way, buddy, you have already conceded yourself that God acts eternally. So you have already admitted it to your damn self.
You say he doesn't have power in the temporal world.
No one said that, dude.
He did not. What he told you is that it has already been defeated because God defeated it eternally. That is quite literally the whole Christian premise. Child abuse is experienced and happens, but let me answer you why. You want to know why? Because you are a stupid temporal creature. You are not eternal, so you will experience things temporally. So will everybody else.
So there's no point praying to God for help. You just have to experience it and suffer it, yes?
The point is align yourself with goodness.
Do you think that God can see the future if he is real? I will answer the question. Do you think God can see the future if he's real?
Yes, it says that.
Then God can see you praying for him at the creation. He can see you praying to him, and he can answer your prayer at the creation. Please be serious right now. So you do think that he operates eternally, but only whenever it's convenient for you.
No.
Yes, quite literally, yes. That's exactly what just happened.
So God waits until you're being abused to actually help you.
Dude, I grew up abused. There were locks on my cabinets growing up, and I grew up in an atheistic household. So please, give me the justification why I wasn't allowed to have food as a 70-pound 8th grader. Please explain that to me. Why was I starved as a 70-pound 8th grader by atheistic parents? Please tell me.
Did God stop the abuse?
Please tell me. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Absolutely.
Amen.
So why don't you tell me why my atheistic parents allowed me to starve? I want you to answer my question. I don't owe you a damn fucking thing. You decided to bring up child abuse, so as somebody who was abused, why don't you go ahead and answer the question? Stop using people that have been abused like me for your piggyback fucking argument. Bring it up.
Making a claim, which I say
I'm not making a claim. I don't give a fuck if you think it's false. I'm quite literally a Christian, and I was raised atheist. I don't give a shit if you think. So now it's not about whether or not.
You made a claim.
So your problem now is not whether or not children were abused. That's not your issue anymore. Now your issue is that I have to prove to you that I was abused and saved.
Children being abused and does nothing, and you made the claim that he did.
I was abused, and I have been saved from it.
How?
That's none of your damn business. I don't owe you an explanation for my personal life.
Yes or no? Did God
Yes, I've already said yes. I've already said
Why-
yes. That's none of your damn business.
Did he kill the parents, the abuser?
I'll tell
Did
you
he-
how. You know what? I got you. I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how, okay? Whenever I was a little girl, my stepbrother, he raped me. And nobody
I'm not
believed me.
asking how it happened.
Shut
I'm
up
asking
and
what
listen.
God
Shut
did.
the fuck up and listen, bitch. You
I'm
asked.
asking what
Shut the
God
fuck
did.
up.
I don't-
Shut the fuck up. You asked. He raped me whenever I was a little girl. Nobody believed me. Then he murdered my stepmom. Literally with a piece of glass in the front yard. You know why I get out of the situation that I'm in? Because all this fucked up shit happened in my family growing up. So please don't bring up abuse to me. You don't know shit
So
about
how did
abuse.
God stop it? He murdered
I'm
your-
not
the
there
parents.
anymore, you stupid
Where was
fuck.
God?
You stupid
It's-
Where
fuck.
was God?
It doesn't
You're
go
so
on. It's
hopelessly
the
retarded.
point. The point is suffering doesn't exist eternally. Suffering
God has
exists
power.
temporally.
God chooses
My
not to
gosh.
use that power.
No, he chooses to use it through
This is how
the
he
ultimate
saved me. I'm
destruction
glad
of
you
evil.
asked.
He
This
doesn't
is how
use
he
it to
saved
stop
me.
evil.
Please pay
He
attention. Shut the
chooses
fuck up and
not
look.
to.
D. Smith, hey, shut the fuck up and look. Do you see this? This is how he saved me. Do you see this house? Do you see how I have food to put in my
So he
stomach?
didn't stop the abuse.
Shut up and
You're
listen.
saying God didn't
Shut
stop
the fuck
abuse.
up. I'm not
He
done
helped you
talking.
afterwards.
Move. Shut the
So
fuck up. I'm not done
disrespectful.
talking. Do you see this food that's in my children's tummies? Do you see how my children have open access to the refrigerator? Do you see how there
Great,
are no
you've got
locks
lots
on
of
my
food.
cabinets? So please don't fucking ask me how God helped me. Okay then,
What has
exactly. You see the
to do
house.
with-
You see my
with
house. My house where I am
your
free
murder?
from the people that abuse
What's
me.
food got to do with it?
So you don't want the evidence that God helped me. You just want to deny anything that's inconvenient for your narrative.
Yeah,
Thank you for proving the point.
I'm getting
Thank
sick
you
of
for
this.
proving the point.
I think I
Thank
gotta
you for
drop him.
proving the point. God bless you, bro.
Yeah, I'm
How
just
did
gonna
God
drop.
stop it? God did
Smith,
not
Smith, you're one of the most disrespectful people I think I've ever witnessed, even watching other people's lives. You gotta shape up, buddy. We gave you answers to your questions. But if you don't like that we've got a solution to the evils in this world and that God ultimately defeats it, then that's on you. You can either align yourself with God or you can just go your own way and see what happens. But ultimately, you just got despair to look forward to right now, because ultimately, once you die, nothing, there, you don't know what's going to happen ultimately. But we've got a solution, we've got assurance, and we've got the comfort of understanding that all this evil is a temporal thing. It's ultimately going to be swept away, and it's going to be, every tear is going to be wiped away according to, how the Bible puts it. But that means redemption of the evil, redemption from it, where it's ultimately not going to have any effect on us. So it's something that you can either get on vibe with, you can get to know the God who ultimately defeats this evil, or you can keep on being a disrespectful atheist who just has nothing to look forward to but despair. I appreciate you coming up here, Proud Bible Thumper.
I apologize for getting out of character.
No, it's
when I hear child abuse, I try to come up and talk about it because, I know a thing or two. But I do not like it whenever people try to use child abuse as an excuse to just be hateful, towards God or towards Christians, or it's so despicable to me. It's so despicable because if atheists were so good, why was I starved? I was 80 pounds, and in 7th grade, why was I starved? 80 pounds in 7th grade.
Yeah, that's wild. But atheism,
no atheists want to answer to that.
The fact of the matter is, you either got the solution
got
to
accused
it.
of stealing food and had CPS at my door every day.
Oh yeah.
Stepdad had us in the backyard like the movie Holes, digging holes as tall as us. Said, please don't bring up abuse
Goodness
for your
gracious.
piggyback fucking argument. Just don't do it. It's so disgusting. And it was atheists that did that to me. So all of your high morality, flush it down the fucking toilet. Every single bit of it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you either got a foundation or you don't. And the people who don't have a foundation are more prone to letting themselves fall into, those kinds of actions, because they got nothing to hold them back from it or to motivate them towards the truth of, what is good and what we're supposed to be doing in this world. And that's Jesus Christ, who ultimately gives us that. You can either vibe with him or you can keep on living in despair, which is ultimately going to lead you towards, just a life of chaos, because you're not going to have anything to ground you. So you make your choice, but I hope you make the right one. This dude's extremely disrespectful, though. I mean, you're telling about your experience, and you just he continued just making his same one point that he didn't even listen to the answers
That's like,
to. So.
yeah, that's what pisses me off actually, is because like I don't actually talk about that. Like I don't know if you've ever even heard that story,
I have
because
not
like I
heard
don't
that.
talk about it. It's nobody's business. So like I don't bring that up. But when people bring up topics specifically like child abuse, I choose to bring it up. You know, maybe once in a while I'll talk about it because you know it doesn't bother me that day. But like it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting whenever people try to use like small groups of people that are like not treated fairly. Like they want to use like these small marginalized groups of people like to support their argument and their hatred for God. And I'm like, bro, they hated God. I know. That's why they hated me and started.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know.
Yeah, it's a hard
like
position.
It's just frustrating. I get tired of it.
Well,
I'm very, very sorry for cussing and getting out.
I don't care.
I'm super sorry about that.
No, I don't care. I mean, I'm having hundreds of people.
Today,
in here.
It
was a wild live today, though. I think I'm gonna hop off. We got no more people in the guests, but I am glad. I'm so happy that you've got such a strong faith in God now, that you've got Jesus to back you up and to take care of your family. Because who knows what kind of person that you would have grown up with if you didn't have him, anymore. There'd just be chaos.
Glory to God.
Glory to God. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, go get some rest. And like, I really enjoyed your live today, even though I know it was like a little hectic for your sweet, mild brain. It was entertaining for me. So thank you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I learned a thing or two too, so it's good. It was good.
All right. Well, I'll catch you later, man. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. I appreciate you every time you come up. Feel free to come up on the next one. See you around. All right, y'all. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, may you all be blessed. I hope you all get the foundation, if you don't have it yet, to understand that evil is redeemed, that we don't have to live in suffering and despair eternally, that we can have the assurance and the rest and the comfort to know that God actually does provide a solution to it eternally, and that we have got eternity to look forward to, in which we'll have a loving relationship with the Creator who made us, who loves us, and the Creator who wipes away all tears and all evil out of this temporal realm, ultimately providing the solution for every single evil that we'll ever experience in this life, and helping us to basically, choose to be better because of it, and to choose to fight against the evils in this temporal realm because of the foundation that he gives us, knowing through the gospel of Jesus Christ that God actually does care about us, knowing that he did defeat evil, knowing that he did provide an ultimate solution. So yeah, Jesus incarnated is the incarnation of God. He was suffered under Pontius Pilate on a cross, forgiving his enemies during that time, showing that he's got love for all people. He just wants them to turn from the evil ways that we've got and to choose to live in righteousness. He inspires us to understand that he's got love for all people. So therefore we should be praying for our enemies and loving our neighbors, as well as loving God throughout this life, instead of giving ourselves over to anxiety and despair. He's the one that provides that foundation. It's a rock solid foundation. It's unshakable. If you have faith in Jesus and his cross, you will be saved. If you understand that he is truly our Savior, he won't let you down. It's been 9 years. He's never let me down once. So stay blessed, y'all. God loves us. No, Jesus did not marry Mary of Magdalene. That is not in the Bible, not even in Luke 7:38. That is a Gnostic teaching. I don't know why. Goodness gracious. But yeah, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John, you can look into the historicity of those Gospels. Those are the historical biographical works of Jesus Christ. There are no other sources of the life of Jesus. Look into the minimal facts argument. You can see what scholars agree upon surrounding the life of Jesus and his disciples. That points towards the resurrection being the theory with the most explanatory power. Yes, Mary is the mother of God. Amen. She birthed the incarnation of God into this world. That doesn't mean that she is the creator of God. That means that she birthed God when he took on human flesh. But yeah, I really got to go use the restroom now. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. Thanks for joining me on YouTube.